Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. It is I, Jesse Milestone, coming to you on this Friday with both good news and bad news.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Where people were just walking around, just jizzing force all over the place. He looks like he has been drinking soy from his mother's teat. Wrap yourselves in, guys, because we are gonna get mean!
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone. I am your God Empress. It is the Matriarchy. Finally, just 90 minutes late. We could have done a whole show in the time it took us to start this show.
I know.
You're welcome. Sorry. It's mostly my fault. It's like 98% my fault. Like 2% the fucker who stole Anna's inflatable.
Yeah, so story for everyone. So I put inflatable decorations out for every single holiday. And Peaches came in and he told me, he's like, hey, this one is missing. I have Jack Skellington and like the Nightmare Before Christmas in my front yard. And so they stole the most expensive one, which is Oogie Boogie. And like, he's got the 3 kids in front of him and it's just gone. And so I went out there to like look, you know, just to see, but we have cameras. So Peaches was looking at the cameras, can't find anything. But, you know, because we could see it in the camera because it was all lit up. And then once the light, there's a big gap between when our camera like registered stuff. Yeah. But it just basically was there and then it wasn't there. And I went out to go look. And one of like the, what are the securing things? Like it, you know, you tie up like a rope and like a stake in the ground. So the one that was like, I kind of like stagger them. So the Jack Skellington one, the little post that was in front of the Oogie Boogie that you don't really see because it's just there to secure the Jack Skellington, it was pulled out of the ground. And so somebody came up, stole the Oogie Boogie thing, but it's like they took it out of the ground. They took all of the secures out of the ground and they unplugged it. So they obviously spent some time in my front yard, which is irritating me that it didn't register on our cameras.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I'm trying to like, I was looking and scouring our camera feed for it. And then I was writing a post, but I'm just pissed.
That's so fucking obnoxious. I can't, like, I hate people who do that. It's like the people who steal presents around the holidays, like steal Amazon packages around the holidays. It's like, you don't have a soul. You like, you know, you're going to hell, right? Like, I don't know. Like maybe people at that point, they're just like, I don't care. I don't believe in any of those things.
Well,
yeah,
they knew they were stealing the most expensive one and they had to have like plotted it out somehow because I mean they got it.
Expensive one.
Shush, go away. Echoes. It's just frustrating. I need to write
something else that's frustrating.
So
to correct me if I'm wrong. The way the YouTube algorithm is supposed to work is that if your videos start getting really, really good metrics, like great like ratios, great comment ratios, great engagement from the audience, the algorithm is supposed to organically pick up on that and realize no matter how big or small that your channel is, that there's interest in it and it should organically promote your videos. That's how it's supposed to work, right? And YouTube does not artificially siphon views off of your videos, right? Or take away views, does not underreport views, right?
No, they 100% do, but continue.
So if YouTube can be believed and they don't underreport views and they don't steal your views and delete them from your channel, then man, it's amazing that they're not promoting me more because I have like 25% engagement on my video. 25% of people apparently that watch my videos or more like them. What do you consider a good, like, wow, this video did well. That's a great like to view ratio. What's like a good like to view ratio?
I'm not even sure. Like to view. I think if you get like 1,000 likes, that's good. Is that what you're saying? Like
I look at about 10%, right? So if I've gotten 1,000 views, I should have about 100 likes. If I've gotten 10,000 views, I should have 1,000 likes. You know, kind of like that. But that's good though. That's like peak. That's peak. That's top. That's like if your video does the best, that's about what you can expect. And then if I go back in my best videos, my highest performing videos ever, I can pull it up. I can pull one up right now. And I could find out what the like to view ratio is. Let's go to the most popular video ever posted on my channel. Right. Star Wars Before Feminism, in which I unequivocally state that if you put a gun to my head and I had to pick, the Force would be male because I like men better.
And I'm sure feminists love that.
I bet they do. So 210,000 views and 14,000 likes. That
Okay.
is my
That's good.
best viewed video ever. That's a great ratio because it's 14,000 upvotes to only 900 downvotes. But
Yeah.
that is still a little better than 5%. That's between 5 and 10% of the people who watch this video bothered to click the like button. My most viewed video, the one that people have seen and spread around the most, because apparently it speaks to the most people. And only 7% of people could have been bothered to click the button, to click the thumbs up button. And yet somehow I'm supposed to believe that now, when my videos perform worse than they ever have before, that now organically my channel has just organically shrank in this way. And yet for some reason, even though my channel just sucks more and more every day and my content clearly just gets worse and worse every time, which is the only reason why the views have dropped off, I now have like 30% engagement. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. Oh my fucking God, just load, you damn thing. Sorry,
So I bring this up to also point out right now, because I'm looking at the numbers over here and I'm like, this has been strange the past several times I've streamed, right? What percentage of people watching in a stream usually comment? Like if you had to, again, I don't know if you've noted, the number of people commenting in a stream is substantially lower than the number of people actually watching. If you look at any stream, the majority of people prefer to just hang out in the background and watch and look and see. I'm finding it very interesting that in my streams lately, 50% or more of the people watching are actively participating in the comment section. And so again, what that tells me is that, okay, if 50% or more of the people watching my stream are active participants, that means that the 10 times that number that want to be here sitting around in the background just watching casually while they're doing something else are not getting those notifications.
No, people are definitely not getting their notifications. Like that's a really big problem.
And that's the thing. When you have subscribers who have switched, who have their notification settings to all, which they all know to do now, because we all spent months reminding them to do that, because we found out that was the first way YouTube was fucking with these notifications. All of our subscribers have it set to all, right? And I'll get this little message. Well, if you put out too much content, can only get 3 notifications from your channel a day. Bitch, I've never posted more than 3 things in a day. So if I have subscribers who have their settings set to all, you have subscribers with their settings set to all, why on earth are only a tiny fraction of those subscribers getting the notifications?
So I found this. Oh my God, they must have stole it during the day. Sorry, I'm still like going through video footage, but it's like you can see like through the little tree right there. Okay, so it would be right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see through the tree that it's not there anymore. But if I go back to, that was at 1:37 p.m. If I go back to 1:34, if it'll load, that part of the tree is like blocked. Or, okay, no, not, I'll go back.
Yeah.
But so anyway, sorry. I'm like still doing Batman shit. So what I've learned from my own experience is I'm subscribed to, I think, at like 100 channels. And the only ones I get notifications for, well, I get notifications for channels I'm not even subscribed to, for channels that I don't even click on or anything. But the ones that I like avidly get notifications for, like I always get Ethan's notifications. And it's because I watch all of his streams and I comment in the chat. Right? Ethan doesn't really make videos anymore. But so that's one that I'm like, okay, well, it gives me the notifications because it knows that I actually watch it. And even after it's live, I will go back and watch the ones that I missed. So I've learned, at least in my own personal experience, it pays attention to the one that I watch. Like I got our notification that this stream was live. Yeah. So it knows that I watched this show. And whatnot, and then I get your Tuesday night ones when you do after the High Council. And I don't get any notifications when Jeff puts out videos, but I get notifications when Jeff puts out live streams, which is weird because I usually catch videos versus live streams. But I think the algorithm knows that if there is a live stream, I will click on it and I'll watch the duration of it.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas videos, I like watch them in sections.
Yeah.
Which is usually the opposite. But so I know the algorithm, it learns you as well. And so it learns your habits.
Yeah.
So
that is very true too. Which the thing is though, it's not as smart as it thinks it is with that stuff. Cause my
they purposely make it bad because if they had a perfect system, which I think they used to, they would have no reason to keep people employed. So they just keep fucking with it.
Exactly. Most diverse Jeff's channel is World Class Bullshitters, and it's wonderful. So you should definitely go. Make sure you're subscribed over that. But yeah, someone has said in the chat too that PewDiePie, that people aren't getting PewDiePie's notifications. I've noticed PewDiePie must be hurting because he's running ads like a motherfucker. Like every single one of my videos, Justin, every time I click around videos in our community, they all have a PewDiePie ad on them. You're talking about the guy who was, the last time we were, talking about him full tilt, it was because he was in that race with somebody else to be the first, have the highest subscriber count and all that stuff. Huh?
T-Series. Oh my God, it was still there at noon today.
Weird.
So somebody stole this in broad daylight. Somebody came into my yard and fucking stole it.
That's terrible. But then hopefully someone was home somewhere and saw something. That's really messed up.
Okay, because it's like, remember how before I showed you the like lighting through my tree, but it's like you can still clearly see there's something right there next to Jack Skellington.
I wonder if somebody came like wearing maybe they came in a van or a truck dressed like a gardener or something like that, and so no one was like suspicious.
It's just like we have a really like tight community, so I'm like, I don't know. I'm really fucking pissed. I'm like, this thing was like $150.
That's fucking obnoxious.
Yeah. So it happened.
So is most of us just now making the connection that Jeff guy from World Class Bullshitters is the same Jeff that I've been dating? Light bulbs. Also, hail chat. What's up, Zach Blackfire, Holocron Library Fox? Macy Van Dusen is here. The Goat Boy Blue. I hear it's your birthday. It's not my birthday too, but that's my favorite birthday song. They say it's your birthday. Da-na-na-na-na. It's our birthday too, yeah. Etc., etc. Also, good luck on your date. I'm excited for you. I'm sure it'll go great. Just be yourself, but don't tell that dog humping joke because she might like now, or actually, no, do tell the dog humping joke, and if she laughs, she's the one. I don't know if you caught it in the chat earlier, shortly before we went live. It was, how do you stop a dog from furiously humping your leg?
I don't know how.
Pick it up and suck its dick.
Oh, I don't get it. Oh, ew.
I love how
I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't tell that joke.
What?
I'm gonna do you a favor. Do not tell that joke.
Don't tell that joke. Epstein's Ghost, thank you for the super chat. Just take my money. You guys rock. Cheers. Epstein's Ghost, what is it like accessing your bank accounts from beyond the pale? That's my question for you. Also, thank you. And I'm glad that some people are not that mad at us for being late. A Glean. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. Yeah, before setting it to all, I wouldn't get notifications of y'all's live streams for both of your channels. And always, guys, always make sure you pop back to the main page of my channel and make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube really likes to unsubscribe people from me. So that can also be a problem. You might be like, I clicked the notifications to all. Why aren't I getting notified? Oh, because you decided you hated me and didn't ever want to come to my channel again, which is why you visit it every day. Just hope that I'll show up. I want that to be somebody's reality. I want one person in the world. I want it to be their reality that all they do is sit around all day refreshing my page, just hoping that I pop up on a random live stream. That's my new life goal. Hey Kai, what's up? And thank you for the super chat. Macy Van Dusen, Yahoo! Actually home in time for the Matriarchy. Woo! See, some people benefit when we start an hour and a half late. Yay! What's up, Robot Shlomo's here too. Hello. And Alexander the Great, of course.
Sorry, guys. I'm like hardcore, like zooming into like camera feeds.
Don't read the screen right now.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just in like a really horrid mood right now.
So we're gonna have to
I haven't had anything stolen from me in years.
It's such a shitty feeling too, because it's just like It's like I didn't do anything. I'm just a decent whatever person. I worked hard to get my money to pay for this thing that I had, and you have no fucking right to come and take this shit. And it's terrible. It's not cool. Jeremy 7 Alpha. Ooh, from what reality are you from where Jeremy's an alpha? Thank you for the super sticker. It is 100 because that's what we bring to the table all the time. So thank you, Jeremy 7 Alpha. Sorry, I didn't mean to accidentally click you off. Quickly, I was looking at your logo. It's cool. I like shapes. Shapes are pretty. Tentacle challenge. How do you stop a large dog from humping your leg? How, Russell? How indeed. I'm just gonna go on a limb and guess that's
It's Russell Hall. There's a mustache thing.
I couldn't see the mustache. Oh, yep, there's a mustache. All right. How, Russell? How indeed. And it's good to see you. Well, how did you feel about Squid Game, Russell Hall? There was a lot of murder, but not really any rape. So, oh wait, no, that's not true. That is not true at all. There is at least reference to rape in Squid Game. So,
when was there reference to rape?
The guys who talked about fucking that one girl's body.
Oh yeah, the zombie.
Cutting her, stuff out. Of course. No, I don't know either. Just asking. Get stronger and do the same thing. Still pick it up. So last week when we were talking about Squid Game, you guys, because I think this was on air too still, so you can go back and double check us on this. Baby Outlaw still haven't seen Squid Game. Okay. So can we take a second right now then and do Squid Game Spoiler Town? And if you don't want Squid Game spoilers, just clap your hands over your ears and go la 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 la, or put us on mute and I'll dance around so it's still fun for you.
Or watch this after because we're just going to spoil the entire show. So
that's actually pretty true. Yeah, just watch the replay of this later. We are just going to rampantly talk about all of Squid Game. And Alexander the Great, I reject your puns. So the Goat Boy Blue, that's your new follow-up joke to it if your first one goes over well. So last week we were talking about, I had only seen the first episode, Anna had seen the four. And we were talking about the old man, number one, and thought most of us, Squid Game's dubbed entirely in English, right? Like the version on Netflix is like, or it's actually like a solid English dub. I mean, you can watch it in Korean.
I think it's a pretty bad dub, but it is there. You can change the languages.
I thought, like, as far as dubs go, I thought it was pretty good. The thing is,
oh god, no. I feel like because I've had to watch like anime and stuff, it's like you can kind of, I don't know. I think it was terrible, especially like the acting.
I have not heard better.
Like,
I have not heard better dubs except when there is a project that is very purposefully, like some of the Miyazaki ones. And a lot of people even say they hate the dub versions of his stuff too, but a lot of the Miyazaki ones, they put a lot of effort into the voice acting for that. But outside of that, the majority of dubs have never put any effort into it. Like,
well, also the translation is bad.
That's one thing that upset me. Actually, I do kind of want to go back and watch it in the original Korean too, because I felt like,
well, even the English subtitles are the translation the same thing,
but
yeah, I don't
like it. But just there are certain things like tonally that you miss. Like Korean has this weird thing when you get angry and like it becomes very nasal and it gets this whiny factor to it. And I could see that like the Korean actors doing that sometimes when they talked. And so I was like, even with the same words, I feel like I would have gotten more, or I might get more out of it watching it again and hearing it in the original language, hearing it delivered with that. It's kind of like when you watch Shakespeare and you're like, I don't get every word they're saying necessarily, but when it's delivered with the right intention, you feel it. And I feel like that might be the case. Like now that I've seen it and watched and heard, know what it's about, and don't have to worry about missing a line here and there, I would go back and watch it probably in Korean just to hear how it sounded.
I actually I prefer reading subs as compared to listening to dubs. So we watched the first 4 episodes with the subtitles, and then somebody spilled the beans to Peaches that you could put on subs. So he did. And I was like, God damn it.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had to watch the subs for the last half of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like just hearing it, too, because a lot of friends, they said that they learned English from listening or like watching television, right? So I'm like, it's not that I'm going to learn Korean, but you can pick up some like the cadence and the language. And so I just prefer hearing it.
Thank you, Ted. I agree with that. I agree with that too. Jeff is very anti subtitles. Some of it too is like he falls asleep on the couch, so he has to. But when I go back through it, I want to do it. I want to do it. Subs. Technical challenge. Thank you. I thought the English was pretty good. Terrible. Oh, I finally found the guy who was attractive. Remember last time you're like, you thought Songwoo was attractive, and I was like, there's no one really my type yet in the show. I finally found
No, the cop guy was cute too.
his brother, the front man. That's my type right there.
I think if he was a little bit younger, but no, he is good looking. Like, it's funny though, because the thing that I liked about the guys in this is they weren't like the K-pop dudes. I feel like all the famous Korean dudes now are they all kind of like wear makeup and they look like girls, whereas the guys in this like looked like men. You know?
I thought the police officer was like the closest to that archetype. But actually, Jeff and I were reading about that. Jeff was reading about it a little and telling me, I guess the Gayong, Songwoo, Saibyuk, and the police officer, whose name I can't remember, are all actually like models in Korea. So they were all like cast in shows like for their looks, which is really interesting too, because we both thought that Gayong lost weight after the first episode. That maybe it was a purposeful choice to even have him be like heavier before he goes in and like as he leans out, because like he just had a sort of chubby, sort of dopey look to his face in the first episode, and then he really looked like he leaned out and like was a little better looking and just had like a harder edge to him as it went on.
This is main guy, right? 456.
Yeah, the main guy. 456.
Yeah, I think he did a good job of like making himself look very stressed out. Like, I did not like him in the first episode, and then as you watch more of it, it's like the end. But that fucking hair at the end, I told Peaches, I'm like, how many Asian guys do you think are gonna dye their hair red and wear a suit on Halloween?
Right? Probably so many. Hey, Michelle O'Rourke, how you doing out there?
Should we just go like through every episode in order and then just talk about each episode?
Yeah, let's do that. That would be the first episode felt like an eternity. I don't know how long.
Oh my god, I know. I was like, how fucking long is this episode?
But I loved it too, because I'm just when I'm getting to the point in the episode where I'm like, oh, we're not gonna get a game in the first episode. That sucks. We still do, and I'm just like, whoa, holy shit, the game that we do get. That was. So it was like, so there was a journey going through the first episode because I know a little bit about what's going to happen. I know about what to expect. And so I'm kind of waiting for it. And so there was like that weird period right after. So the way that you get initiated into this game is they're all watching you. And so the people scout people in massive debt. They scout individuals who are at the brink of disaster, who are ready to do things like sign their bodily rights. That seemed to be one of the keys. If you are willing to sign your bodily rights, what?
The desperation.
That level of desperation to where you're willing to sign over your bodily rights. Like we see Gayong sign over was kidney in his eyes for his debt. So this guy finds you, offers you a play game for money. And it's weird because I haven't that going back into it. It's like that really is. It's so honest in that moment, where they build this whole scene where it's if you win this money from me. If I win, I win the same amount from you. Okay, you can't pay me. Okay, well then I will slap you for every time that I win. And it's.
I think before this happens, though, is they do a really good job. The main character, how the hell do you say his name?
Pause for one quick second. Itachi-san, the mods here are people who don't appreciate you being abusive to my best friend and co-host. And so they were right to put you in timeout. And if you don't get why they did that and can't figure out how to correct that behavior, then it's going to fucking happen again. All right. So don't come at the people who are actually doing their job. Think about what you did, maybe. Think about why you're here on this chat. Because I like you usually. I think you're a good dude usually. But that's just coming in here to say bullshit to people because you don't like what their opinion. You don't like what they say. Great. Guess what? I like Anna's opinions. She is on the show. She's the co-host on the show because we built a show based around the idea that we like each other's opinions and want to hear them. If you're not here for that, then this is not the show for you. Come back on a Tuesday if you really have to, but also understand that people who are not friendly to Anna are generally not that welcome here. And that's not usually the case. I don't put my lines in the sand. You got to like everyone I like and care about all the people I care about. But Anna's not just a YouTube co-host or colleague or somebody of mine. Anna's one of my very closest friends in the world, in the actual real people universe. And that's different. You don't get leeways and lines and wiggle room there. That's fucking real shit. I mean, way more than any of this.
I recognize that name. Maybe it's somebody that I have blocked on my channel. I don't know. I'll go check.
That'd be Annie Hoozle. Sorry, that's all. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. Well, no, I think that they do a really good job of like just showing us the main character and how it, because I hated him. I'm like, this dude's a fucking loser and he's doing it to himself. He lives with his mother. You can tell that they're dirt poor.
Exactly.
And then he literally, his mom gives him money because it's his little girl's birthday, which he obviously does not have custody of. And she says, she's like, she likes fried chicken, take her out to dinner. And he's like, well, I need money for a present. So the mom, who it's like, she's obviously elderly, she should be retired, but she's still fucking working to support his ass. And he goes and like steals his mother's credit card, gets money from his mother's credit card to go bet on like a horse race. Yep. And then he wins, but all of his creditors come after him. And then he like begs for his life and then you find out he got pickpocketed and he's just a shitty fucking person.
He is.
And then you see that he's at the bottom of, because he finds out that his daughter, his ex-wife and her new husband, they're going to move to America. So he literally has nothing to lose now. Cause that's like the only thing is like, he wants to keep his daughter in Korea.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's such what's fascinating about this character is how you don't, and it's sort of becomes his motif for the rest of the show. And it just goes deeper and deeper is he doesn't even find out who he is until he's under the deepest of pressures. So it doesn't matter that his daughter's birthday isn't enough. Being dirt poor isn't enough. Having nothing, having the creditors come after none of that is enough. It's finding out that he's going to actually lose his daughter for good. Not just, we're gonna not let you see her as much or give you a hard time about it or treat you like dirt for coming around, but actually we're going to take her away to America. And literally her new stepdad tries to buy the dad out of his life. That was the first thing.
That's later, isn't it?
Oh, that's when he comes back. Yeah, in the middle. I forgot about that part. But yeah, but it's because he didn't even find out. No, he didn't even find out. Does he find out?
He finds out that episode, doesn't he?
No, that episode, but I'm trying does he find out before the game starts or
well, no, he finds out about the thing with his mom after. But so he finds out because he says, oh yeah, because he was gonna get her a present and whatnot. Yeah. And so this is what it was stupid. Instead of just going to a store and buying her a toy, he wastes money on those claw machines trying to win her a toy, and he gets a little kid to win her the toy. I think maybe that was them trying to establish that he likes games.
I think that he likes games.
He wastes all this money trying to win her a random toy, and then so he doesn't even know what the toy is, and so it's a gun that's like a lighter, but he doesn't know that, and so she opens it and it's a gun, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just don't show your mom." And he's like, "Yeah, next year I'll get you something better, and I'll take you out to like a big fancy dinner." And he gets her like a hot dog thing, and she's like, "Oh yeah, mom and like the stepdad got me steak earlier," but she's like, "I really wanted the hot dog."
She's all
and so it's cute.
She's like,
but he finds out when he drops her off, the mom tells him, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're moving to America next year."
No, the mom didn't. It's his mother that tells later.
Yeah,
it's his mother. When he comes back, it's his mother. He's like, "Did she have anything to tell you?" And he's like, "No, they're moving." And then he remembers the way her face was when he said about next year, I'll do it next year. And that's kind of when he realized he's out of time. Like there is no next year. There is no more time. There is no more there's no more time to get the money because they're coming from the next month. It's no more, oh, well, he every single time he's been able to talk his way out, weasel his way out of it. Now you've signed a paper that says they're going to fucking take your body. They're going to kill you and harvest your organs if you don't pay next time. Like you're out of options. Which is why, like, it's hard for me to just talk about this sequentially because it like there's so much in this episode when you go back to it that foreshadows everything else. Like that.
I think that's the power of it. That's why it works so well. Is It's like each episode is good, and just when you think there's like, what the fuck else could happen, the next episode happens, and you get even more information, and it's like, fucking A, man, what? Because it's like. Because they could just tell us all of the information flat out, but I like the way that they do it. Like, we find out as each character finds out.
Exactly.
Because they could do it where it's like, oh, yeah, this is everything that's happening and whatnot. And so us, the viewer, have more information than the person, which usually is actually how, like, horror movies work. It's like us, the audience, can see, you know, Michael Myers coming after her, Jason coming after her, but they don't see him yet, you know?
That's one of the things and this is why I chose to make my review of No Time to Die pointedly bouncing off of Squid Game, because I think that they're such great parallels to be coming out, you know, so close to each other, because and Jeff was even saying things like Squid Game is a better James Bond, you know, adventure than James Bond is. And it's like, you wouldn't think that of a South Korean show about a murder game. Like, what's James Bondy about that? I don't know. The entire cops plot line, like once he gets introduced, that's like full on espionage to a James Bondy level where he's sneaking around a mysterious island with evil people, rich people doing nefarious things. Like it's has so many tropes of like and hallmarks of good entertainment, but it doesn't have to subvert itself at every turn. Like, it has twists, it has surprises, but they're not working so hard to misdirect you on everything. They're not working so hard to subvert you. They understand that the value of good storytelling is sometimes just telling a very straightforward story incredibly well and adding bells and whistles. And then when you do make your turns, when you do choose to subvert in some way, then it adds weight. Then it actually, you know, has the impact. And the way I like to put it is, you can't subvert somebody's expectations if they don't know where they were being led in the first place. And this is one of the problems with, say, The Last Jedi is a great counterpoint, or No Time to Die is a great counterpoint. There's no way to subvert your expectations in No Time to Die because that movie is a mess and you don't know where it's headed at any given moment. So you can't be surprised by anything that happens next because you just have no fucking clue what's going to happen next. The Last Jedi is another great example of that. It's so banal and stupid of a story to be telling. It strains the imagination that this is the story you would be telling, this boring ass space chase and side story on Canto Bight that you don't know what's going to happen next, not because it's a surprising, thrilling adventure, but because the story isn't going on a logical trajectory, so you're just confused. And when you're just confused, you're not pleasantly surprised or taken aback or enriched when a new twist or turn happens because there's nothing to subvert. Squid Game is the exact opposite of that. The way that it layers everything and is willing to do things like not subvert your expectations. Oh, you guys want to see a show where they're going to go into this game and they're going to play the game to the end? Good. That's what we're going to give you. We're not going to we're not going to ruin the game and blow the whole operation up in the first fucking season. As a matter of fact, we're going to ride it through to what I actually felt was a fairly milquetoast conclusion in service of setting up the story for season 2, which is something we have forgotten. Like, everyone needs the big season finale, the season finale, that we're now a one season culture where you can make a great pilot, a brilliant pilot season for any show that's got a great concept, but it subverts itself every fucking episode to the point that by the time you're through an even 12 episode season, you have already deconstructed and uncovered every possible twist, turn, and surprise in the genre. Squid Game follows such an obvious trajectory on its story that, once again, the times where it does twist you and turn you are actually pleasant and surprising, and there's still so much room in this story to explore and keep telling. Sorry, that's my big. That's my big idea interjections.
Gotcha. Oh no, I realized as I was thinking about, No Time to Die, I'm just like, this is a spy movie if Nicholas Sparks wrote it. Because my thing, I'm like, this is way too chick flicky for me. And I'm like, Jesse, No Time to Die has the same basic plot as The Notebook. They're in love. Hear me out, because you were there with me. We watched this movie fucking together.
Oh my god, wait, it totally does though.
No, it does. They're in love. Everything's going fine. Then something happens that splits them apart. They find out when they reunite the thing that split them up wasn't the thing that they thought that split them up, and they get back together. And then something
But the guy
happened,
that split them up in the first place,
which is like the mom in The Notebook, that she hid the letters and she made a move, and then they get back together. Something happens and one of them dies.
And then the Rami Malek is even like the James Marsden guy who's like, oh, you're actually should be with me instead, even though you're like, why? No, there's no reason to be.
Was he hitting on her? I never got that.
What?
Was he hitting on her?
James Marsden? He was like the other guy in that movie, right?
Well, no, I mean, I didn't get in the No Time to Die that he was into her like that. I think
He said that in the end, which was so weird because he doesn't hit on her at all. He doesn't do any of that at all. But at the end, he's like, "Oh, you and me, Bond, we are the same, both in love with the same woman." And I'm like, when were you in love with her? Like, when in this entire movie were you in love with her?
I remember that.
Yeah, he fucking says it. That's what I'm like. That it's so flimsy. It's like you're trying to build this speech of the why we're connected when it's like that's the moment when I realized that James Bond actually doesn't need to be in this movie at all. Like he's not important in this movie at all. And I don't understand why Rami Malek doesn't just kill him in the beginning. He doesn't even need him. You think initially that because he has the little thing of like, oh, well, you haven't lost everything you care about, so I still have leverage over you. And you think he's talking about using James Bond as leverage over her, but he's not. He's talking about using the daughter. So that's leverage he has, whether Bond is alive or dead. And like when you think M is like, get me 007, he's not talking about James Bond. He's talking about the new 007. So like no one actually really needs him in this movie. And like the only thing he accomplishes by getting involved on the American side is getting Felix killed. Like if he had just said yes to M in the first place, then none of that would have happened. And so there's just like no reason for him to be in his own fucking movie. And there's absolutely no reason for this ruthless, bloodthirsty guy who is going to kill some percentage of the world, which by the way, they never tell you. Do they ever explain who Rami Malek wants to kill, what he actually wants to do with this masterful weapon now that he's got it? He tells you what he can do with it, everything he can possibly do with it, but he doesn't tell you what he actually wants to do with it or why he developed it or what he's going to do. None of that shit. It's just like, totally baffling. But okay, you're this psychopath who's just willing to kill all these people willy-nilly, and yet for some reason you're keeping Bond alive, even though like the only value of keeping him alive is the fact that he could probably fuck up your plan. But you don't need him for leverage. You don't need any information from him. You don't have any really deep connection to him that makes you need to have him see your triumph and his failure. Like if it was Blofeld at the end there who's like, I need you to see your loss, like, okay, that makes sense. He's this movie villain. He's our big ultimate baddie. It makes sense if he's going to want to be there. We've already have him set up as James, you're my brother, James, and this connection between them, the other side of the same coin. So when they try to pull that shit at the end with Rami Malek, it's like, it doesn't work. You spent movies setting that with Blofeld. You just killed him off at the beginning of this movie. And now you suddenly want me to care, but all you're doing is reminding me that there is no connection here and that Rami Malek should have just fucking killed James Bond the second he laid eyes on him and didn't have any use for him in that entire movie.
No, it wasn't even about James Bond. It was about the blonde chick.
Entirely. The entire fucking movie.
The entire movie is about her. It's not about, that's why I'm like, it's literally The Notebook. The movie is about Allie, but it's told through the perspective of Noah.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
It's literally, I'm like, if this was Nicholas Sparks saying, I'm doing this big, high-budget, blockbuster spy movie, I'd be like, all right, everything in that movie makes sense. Everything, right? That Nicholas Sparks, all right, that was your spy movie. Got a lot of issues, but it's a Nicholas Sparks movie. I'm not exactly looking for high art there. It's a chick flick. But exactly. No, they're like, this is James Bond, which I'm like, I mean, no offense. People are going to lose their mind. It's like, yeah, the Phoebe chick, the British chick that's going to be the new Indiana Jones. Yeah, I can tell a woman wrote this because it's literally a fucking chick flick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, it's like, I like James Bond. I've been watching it since I was a little kid. That wasn't a James Bond movie. I'm also a girl. I've seen a lot of fucking chick flicks. That was a chick flick.
Yeah, what James Bond movie features James Bond stopping to give long, heartfelt, emotional speeches to the woman of his dreams?
Well, also,
unless
it's like
The only time Bond does that is when it's 100% bullshit so he can get in her pants.
Well, my thing is, like, also, Jesse, the scene where he, like, goes back, he finds her at, like, her home. She's like, "You remembered where my real home is." And then he's just like, "You look fantastic." And as he, like, takes her in his arms with the light coming from behind them and, the sunlight and the setting, I'm like, they ripped off this whole scene from 2004 Pride and Prejudice when Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy encounter each other at the end.
Which, like, that, by the way, also another completely failed plot point, because while he has to run off to her home to tell her that he loves her after all, and he's so sorry he made a mess of all of this, he sends Lashana Lynch off to go track down Felix's killer. Didn't they make an entire James Bond movie where the entire reason, the entire thing that sparks off the movie is James Bond is trying to track down who attacked Felix, and he doesn't even fucking die in that one.
Is that the Timothy Dalton one?
Yes.
Yeah, where he gets murdered in the beginning with his wife, right?
Yeah, well, he doesn't. You see him at the end. He doesn't actually end up dead. But yeah, like where you think Felix is going to die, and that alone, having his friend in critical condition, is enough to make James Bond go off on this whole crazy mission to tear this whole shit down because of that. That Felix, who was just shot in front of you, and you've got a lead, you got a trace now on the guy who did it. And you're sending this chick you don't even like that much out to do that job?
Who's totally
so you can
incompetent.
Go make out with somebody?
She's failed every single mission. Do you notice that? Every single mission she fails.
Yeah. That, by the way, is the reason that this movie is not woke. And there's like, you can't, like, it's not good. It's bad. And there are things in it that like, you can see where the battleground was. You can see that there were Phoebe Waller-Bridge efforts made and then subsequently dismantled.
Well, because there was setups, and then I think because they had reshoots, I'm like, I think that I could see where this was going, then they changed it.
Oh yeah.
That is the thing. It's not. I think it was originally woke, and then they saw the writing on the wall, so they're like, all right, we got to do some reshoots on this.
And now I do think that, going woke and then dialing it back is a big part of why the script is so disjointed, because you do have these weird battling narratives, one that feels more like milquetoast progressive, and then one that feels a little more traditional James Bondy. And they're sort of duking it out a little bit, but ultimately, and that's why it's like, I had somebody actually say that because the movie kills the iconic white hero, it is woke. And I'm like, okay. Or not even, no, the iconic white character. You didn't say hero, he's the iconic white character. I'm like, so Halloween is woke. Because, like, I guess technically Michael Myers doesn't die in the end, but, like, sort of. Like, Gladiator's woke. Terminator 2 is woke. Like, it's just these ridiculous metrics people are making for what woke is now. And I'm like,
well, because I was actually surprised that, like, she didn't make a point of, like, that I'm a black woman. Like, you can tell that those rewrites were there. But the thing, it's like, I even said this when we were watching the movie. It's like, I don't think that she's a bad actress. I think that they actually play really well together. Yeah. And I think I said this after the movie, actually. I'm like, yeah, she's a really good sidekick. Like, she was a great sidekick for him. She was kind of a bitch in the beginning, but they made it humorous. So it's like that competitiveness between them. I was like, that felt kind of James Bondy, and I was like, it makes fucking sense why she's 007, because he retired and she got his number, because she got he retired and she got the promotion. Exactly. And I'm like, it wasn't like they took it away from him and gave it to a woman purposefully.
Exactly.
He just got a promotion.
It's not even like they took it away from him. He retired. Mm-hmm. He went away.
That's why I'm like, I think that was part of a rewrite, because the way that they do it, because it's like, it never like shows that he retired. It seemed like he was, laying, because so James Bond, he does this where he's still working, he's undercover, but he does it in like the most luxurious way possible. So when you see him after him and the girl break up, he's, in what, Bora Bora or something, or he's wherever the fuck he is in like an exotic place. And I'm like,
let's recall License to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. That That's why I thought they were going to kill Felix before he agreed to do the mission, because I thought they were just going to, okay, I'm like, honestly, I wish they had, though. I wish that I would have much rather them have, I would much rather have them had, sorry, I'm just getting distracted again because the Teshi stand is still running. And look, I just want to address this one final time, because somebody made a great point, because he said something and someone said, then why are you here? And that's a great point. Like, you want to die on this hill of free speech, free speech, free speech. Okay, let's have a free speech moment, okay? You're being a fucking shithead. You're being an asshole for no fucking reason, you douchebag. You showed up on my stream knowing who my fucking guest is. Someone you decide you don't like her opinions, that is fucking fine. You don't have to, but you are just being an asshole. You are not making a point about free speech. You are not doing anybody favors. You're not being funny. You're not being clever. You're not being a fucking activist. You're being an asshole. Okay? There's a difference between free speech, someone trying to take my free speech away, and I purposefully went to somebody's channel where I knew the guest was somebody I don't care for, so I could sit in the chat and run my stupid fucking mouth about how fucking ignorant I'm being and how important free speech is. So there, you got what you wanted, Atechi-san. You got all that shit, and now you're gone. You happy? Is that what you wanted? You want to go die on the hill of free speech? Do it somewhere else. You are not welcome here anymore.
Jesus, I don't even want to know what they said.
They're just being a shithead. They're just making it perfectly clear that they don't like you and don't like your opinions. And that's fine. They don't have to, but they're not being nice about it. The thing is, if you don't like Anna's opinions, if you want to sit here and if anyone else could listen to this, don't listen, whatever they want to know. If you don't like me or my opinions, if you don't like Anna, her opinions, you have every right to sit in my chat and tell us why you think we are wrong at every single turn. But if you want to pull some little bullshit of I'm going to sit here and go, shut up, I hate you, don't say that, your voice makes my ears hurt, nah, 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 and shit like that, and then when everyone else in the chat, because that's what everyone else was doing, was telling this person, literally being fucking nice about it, and this is the shit, this free speech, free speech, free speech, okay, free speech, free speech. Everybody exercised their free speech in this chat to make it clear how they felt about this guy's contributions and the shit that he was saying, and he couldn't take a fucking hint. So guess what, asshole? Your rights stop where mine begin. Our free speech, our desire to continue having our free and open Congress was being impeded by your asshole-ish interruptions. And so we have elected to make the decision to say, get the fuck out of here. I'm not the government. I'm not bound by the constitutional right to give you and offer you free speech. I elect to do it because I care, because I want to. I am not bound by that. That applies to governmental institutions. And I believe in that tenet. And so I exercise it to the extent of my ability. But I will not tolerate people who want to take advantage of that, who want to take advantage of the freedom that I have offered them. If you want to have your own channel where you want to allow any person to come on and talk shit to you and your friends and say whatever asshole-ish shit they want to say, you can go ahead and do that. On my channel, you can disagree with me till you're blue in the face. You can tell me you think I'm wrong. You can tell me you think I don't know what I'm talking about. But once you start, if all you want to do is call people names, is say shitty things to them and about them, then you can get the fuck out. And that's it. Yeah.
Thank you. That was nice of you. Not the person in the chat. I'm talking about you. Yeah, I mean, it just shows like what a great life you must live if that's what you got to do with your time, you know.
This is where like I think, and this is another great thing I think that Squid Game brought up too. Apparently, everyone's mad at me for thinking that the suits looked orange. I guess they're pink. And
wait, what's pink?
The soldiers in a Squid Game. I thought those were pink suits or orange suits, but everyone's like, they're pink. Oh my god, how can you see
what suits? When are there
the soldiers? The guys with the masks, the ones who are referred to as the soldiers, the workers, the guys who come and take the bodies away.
That is not pink. You
think it's orange too?
I don't remember, but I know it's not pink.
Ha ha! Yes. Okay, I'm not crazy. Good.
Who thinks that those are pink?
I don't know. Everyone's getting upset at me for thinking that it's orange, but
no. Let me see. I think it's like, wasn't it like a burnt red?
Like an orangey red. I thought it was like a weird, like a really neon-y orangey red kind of look. Anywhoozle.
Okay, well, like the pictures look different. On no, that's not pink. It's like a.
Thank you.
It's a shade of like red.
Jeff said pink too. So, let me do some super chats before we get behind. Sorry, guys, I didn't realize I'd gotten so far behind. Andy McCallum, thank you so much. Did you know that Henry Cavill is dubbed by an English voice actor? Thank you, IMDb trivia. What? On what? Is that just his life? Is that just what IMDb thinks? Is that a piece of IMDb trivia that just says that Henry Cavill, like in real life, is just walks around being dubbed by an English voice actor? Because I love that idea. He's secretly just that. He secretly just walks around being dubbed by a British man, and he's actually American. I don't know. Tentacle Challenge. Thank you, Russell, for the super chat. Speaking of makeup, am I the only person who's going to call Kevin Smith out for what clearly looks like blackface makeup? That or he tans in a toaster?
When did he have blackface makeup?
I did not see Kevin Smith in blackface, but now I want to, because look, let's an excuse to go cancel Kevin Smith. Let's go cancel someone today. That's all we do. It's because we're women, actually, and so the only way we know how to handle our feelings is to cancel people we don't like. Macy Van Dusen says, Jesse, love the shirt. Thank you. It was sent to me by this really awesome guy who sends me really cool stuff and really funny memes and makes me laugh. So really cool guy. Wonder who he is. John Thomas says, Jesse just did to Bond what Amy on Big Bang Theory did to Indiana Jones. I don't watch Big Bang Theory, so I don't get the reference.
Oh, she makes a point about how everything would have still happened if Indiana Jones wasn't in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, he did not need to be in the movie.
But that's not true.
Oh, you have to hear it.
Is it a legit argument?
Yeah, because it breaks everyone. It's like, oh my God. Because like the Nazis would have still gotten there and like everything would have still happened if he wouldn't have been there.
No, actually, the Nazis might never even found the damn Ark in the first place.
Here's the thing. I don't remember what it was. I just remember when I watched it, I was like,
oh no,
yeah,
actually, that would make sense though, because they were already on to Mirren where the thing was, so they would have just gotten to her first. They would have just gotten the thing. They'd have just gotten to the Ark. They'd open up the Ark, and all the faces would have melted. But then where would the Ark have gone after that? Then the Ark could have been lost, or fallen into other wrong hands. Other Nazis could have come and picked it up. Et cetera, et cetera. So,
well, you have to watch it to get the point. I don't want to argue something I have no knowledge of.
Yeah, that's fair. Now that's the thing is though, irrespective of whether or not Indiana Jones is necessary for that plot, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a good movie. And I would actually argue that it doesn't matter that all the events with the Ark happen anyway, because Raiders of the Lost Ark is not that. It's watching Indiana Jones on this adventure. It's watching the journey that he goes on, So it's still a great movie because the getting to the Ark of the Covenant is not the story. It's the journey, Bond is Bond has this magical thing, and he's supposed to. It's this blend of like a guardian angel and his resourcefulness and his improvisation. That's there's what he physically brings to the table, his ability to improvise in any situation with any materials around him. And then it's also, but at the same time, there's a little bit of movie magic, right? How many times do you have a moment like even No Time to Die gets that right for one quick second in the beginning where, he's at this party and Blofeld has brought him there to kill him, and by rights he should die. And because somebody else's plot is at work for a bigger picture, he's spared for some other magical reason. That's happened. That's actually tracks as a Bond trope. Because you're like, okay, that works. But you lose that magic and you lose the point of Bond if one, he's not a relevant player. That's the thing. It's like, just because the Ark would have gotten to the same place the same way, or it wouldn't. Just because the Ark would have gotten there to the same place without Indiana Jones, it wouldn't have been the same journey to get there. If you remove Bond out of this movie, the rest of everyone else can pick up his part. Like the rest of the movie works without him. Like you don't have to change the plot really You know, just take him out, take his parts out of it, his relevance. You could just write Bond, as if Bond did fall off the map and die, and we don't have him anymore. So now all of his friends have to go on this adventure without him. And you could tell the exact same story that you just did. There is no Bond magic in this movie. There's no special Bondiness. There's nothing that James Bond, the character, brings to the table that makes this movie special or worth watching. You know?
Well, even like the gadget thing, like James Bond's got a cool gadget in every fucking movie. There's one, he gets a watch. He gets one fucking watch.
James Bond, the Q scene in every James Bond movie is like the best foreshadowing in every James Bond movie because it's here. Let's lay out.
It's like, why would he need this? And then it shows you, okay, this is why.
And it's never one thing, one watch that I'm not really quite sure exactly how powerful it is or what it does. It's 1,000 different gadgets, big, small, and weird. And exactly, you wonder, how is he going to use this? And at some point in the movie, each one of those pays off in a unique situation. That's just gone. It's gone. There's no fun, nothing to watch for. Like, the only things that were expected in this movie was the conclusion. The only thing that you knew was going to happen the whole time was that he was going to fucking die on this island at some point. And that was it. That was the only thing that was guaranteed. And so everything else in the interim was just kind of disappointing as a lead up to that moment, you know? If that makes sense.
I see it was a bad movie.
It was a terrible movie. Tentacle challenge. Thank you. It says it looks pink in some light, purple in others, etc. I don't think it ever looks purple.
It doesn't look pink at all.
I think it looks orange.
It's a shade of red.
Yeah, like, you know, orangey red. Anywho, the debate will never end. Caesar Jordan, sorry Japan, thank you for the super chat. His Anna cosplaying as a Reese's peanut butter cup. I heard someone else say she looked like a
No, but I'm not in a really good mood, so my humor is at level 0 right now, so I don't have patience for that.
Runs with Phantom says Anna's face is epic right now. Lol.
Why? Because I have no expression.
Probably. Dressel Hall, thank you for the super chat. Just watch Kevin Smith on any podcast. He gets progressively darker every month. Recently talking about Savage He-Man, he was looking extra crispy. Did he get like a home in the desert or something like that? Maybe that.
I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, you got to wear something to honor the man today.
Well, I mean, he explained that he's been doing like a 6-mile hike every day. Mm-hmm. So, which I think he looks fatter now than he did before, but that's probably where he's getting the sun.
Maybe that.
And then he probably is wearing a mask because he posts that thing where he's double masked doing a 6-mile hike. So he's probably getting a tan line and then putting like tanning lotion on the bottom of his like face or something.
That's so funny. Do you think he actually wears the double mask the whole time or just for the Instagram pictures?
Probably just for the Instagram pictures.
And when he sees other people, because he can't breathe their regular people germs, you know. It's been too long since he himself was just a regular person. He doesn't remember what it's like anymore. Weird sometimes how it's like, it's sometimes, I don't know. I find that a lot of the celebrities that have the most perspective or have the best perspective are the ones that didn't start out famous, but kind of worked themselves up through a more organic trajectory, like a regular trajectory. Okay, they kind of went through the system, and so they kind of maybe even got kicked around by the system a little bit. And so, you know, understand what it's like to be a regular person before all that, understand what it cost them to get the fame and the success, and sort of have perspective of both. But then you have your Brie Larsons who were just fame babies and that's all they are, and they don't understand what the real world is like. And you have your Kevin Smiths who like was so hungry for it that he maxed out his credit card to do it and had that passion for it. But it's like that somewhere that level of passion maybe was too much, there was something ugly in there, because as soon as the money got behind it, it was like, all right, for a while he was on this great kick, riding that high, riding that inspiration, riding that passion. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe he had too much. Sometimes these independent people who start like independent, and they get their own way for so long. They get to build their own world exactly the way they want to for so long. They just like forget how to be told no. And and they forget that the world around them isn't just the world that they created, and they stop being any different than someone like, I mean, to me, that's like, Kevin Smith, I might have respect for how he got his start, but now his level of perspective and his level of like humility and understanding and ability to relate to regular people ain't that much better than Brie Larson's.
I mean, I think it's more of the fact that he's in Hollywood now and he's not independent, so he has to rely on his friends now to get work and to do stuff, which he says in that video of the live stream where he's like, I don't want to say this because I want to keep my jobs. He wasn't beholden to anyone before, and now he is, and so that's gonna dictate what he does.
Disingenuous, though. That is so disingenuous coming from him, coming from somebody. What was the budget of Clerks? Somebody who understands exactly how little money and resources it takes to make a beloved feature-length film that can be a classic forever. So that is just bullshit. It's not that he's beholden to anybody. It's that he likes that lifestyle. He likes knowing that if he cashes the checks and he plays his cards right and he puts his head down and he walks the walk and he talks the talk, that he gets a certain lifestyle out of it. He gets to be one of the Hollywood elite. He gets to be accepted by these people that, he probably always idolized. That's the reality. He's got plenty of money on his own that if he wanted to say, fuck all of this, you don't think he could turn around, and go start an independent production company without any help from his Hollywood cronies, and there wouldn't be enough people getting on board, and he wouldn't have enough money to finance an independent feature on his own and make a name for himself and to stand for himself on his own? Of course he has enough money to do that. He's attached to he's attached to these huge properties now. His own, properties have made him so much money. There's no, and again, of all people, it's one thing if you've only ever made big budget movies and you don't understand, you don't have a foot in the independent world, understand how to do it. This is the guy who did it with nothing. Not even like, he got a big break and someone gave him a chance to try it out with, an $100 million budget. Nothing. He did it with whatever he could pull out of his own pocket and whatever money he could put up against his own name. So he understands how to do that and what he can. He just chooses not to.
I honestly don't care. I don't know why we're talking about Kevin Smith.
It's Russell's fault.
Oh.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's see. We'll catch the super chats then. Runs with Phantoms says, maybe she doesn't want to hear this, but Anna's bad mood face is cute for some reason. Cute in a goofy cat meme way.
Thanks.
Thank you, Runs with Phantoms. And Russell, Kevin Smith is clearly just trying to squeeze under the cancel radar by taking on a biracial appearance.
I'm going to go get something to drink, and I'll hopefully be back when we're done talking about Kevin Smith.
Okay. Just looking like gives him a layer of protection. Maisie Van Dusen says, Anna, what's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a tricycle and a well-dressed man on a bicycle? Oh.
I don't fucking care. I'm not in the mood for jokes.
Macy, you're lucky I love you, but I won't read the punchline because I don't pun. Guys, if you're wondering why Anna's grumpy, it's don't worry. It's not all everyone else too. It is probably a little bit of Teddy's on being a douchebag. But somebody stole her inflatable Halloween, one of her inflatable Halloween lawn ornaments. The nicest one, like a fucking D-bag. And I don't know if you guys have ever had something stolen from you. Big or small, it feels like shit. It just ruins your fucking day. It's just shitty. So no, technical challenge, fuck puns. I don't believe in puns. Macy knows this. That's why he addressed it to Anna, because he was like, I won't address a pun to Jesse. Poor Macy. He's like, I was just trying to spare Jesse from the pun. I didn't mean to just chase Anna away. But yes, I'm your thumbnail is awesome, by the way. Has Anna gone forever? She's gone away. I do like that thumbnail. Let's check in with the chat now. Let's see how you guys are doing. So yes, that was what was going on. Yes, thieves are, dude. So last year, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in stream too, but yeah, I had ordered Jeff these Power Ranger ornaments for our Christmas tree, and I was so stoked for them. And he didn't even know that they were coming. It was a surprise because Jeff was really bummed about not getting home for Christmas last year. So we did all these things to make it special, and that was going to be the specialest thing because we both love Power Rangers. And some fucker stole the package. It was marked as delivered. He was like marked as put in my post, so it had to be it was probably the person who delivered it, because that shit happened. And Sorry, I just found something about true crime from Jedi Money. And so like a couple days later, I found the wrapper for the package just torn open on the lawn, and I was like, "Wow, you assholes!" That was also like such a hallmark of a shitty building too. It was like you couldn't keep our buildings secure. Like we had so much mail theft and shit during the holidays. I'm like, we are a secure building. The front door is locked. There's no excuse for this level of people coming in and out because all your fucking assholes would just prop the door open, leave it open all fucking day long. I was like, sorry. Anyway. Mr. Joyce. Oh, that's sad. I never want to do jack-o'-lanterns again after some kid smashed mine. I was 4. Not the same thing when I get. Exactly. It's just like you're getting in the holiday spirit. You're doing all this stuff, and it's just like someone just taking the wind out of your sails. It's a shitty feeling. Rain on your parade. It's not cool. It's not cool. I don't like that. Patrick T says there's a YouTuber who punks package thieves. I think I've seen a couple of those videos. I love those. That to me is the greatest thing. I would be physical if I caught somebody on my property. Like, I should make sure I know what the laws are everywhere. Because most states have certain lot of laws about defending your ground and stuff. Someone comes onto your property and tries to steal your shit. Like, if I was in that situation, and the shitty thing is, I don't know if you hear we were saying that, it was like it seems like it was just in the middle of the day now. It was in the middle of the fucking day, which is just if I had been there, if you happen to have caught the people in the act, it's like I would have hurt people. There would have been violence.
Yeah, well, no, so it's weird. Oh yeah, so if anyone wants to know,
I was just telling them a little bit about it because everyone was wondering, like, what's that? Okay. Yes.
No, I'm just in a really fucking bad mood, and it's getting worse. But I think it's like, so somebody stole something from my front yard, and I posted like a thing in my like neighborhood chat.
Yeah.
And of course, there's like the one guy that comments on every post. It's like a smart aleck asshole, and he's like basically lecturing me for having it in the first place and not having it bolted down. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's like telling people that, oh, I'm sorry, it's your fault someone was an asshole and stole something from your front yard. And then also it's like, I'm like, so are you gonna give everyone shit for putting up Christmas lights?
Yeah, like, dude, do you have potted plants? Well, if you don't super glue those to your porch, then I guess they're fair fucking game.
Exactly. And I'm just like, really, dude, I just got my fucking decoration stolen that was very expensive.
Yeah, like, too bad mail theft is a federal crime. I guess I'll just lift shit out of your mailbox. Like,
I know. I'm just like, dude, I'm posting this in the neighborhood chat so everyone can see. So that way, if just mysteriously today a neighbor puts that up, everyone knows that just got stolen. Peaches made a police report about it, but it's like our video, like, because we have cameras, obviously, it randomly cuts out after the certain time, but we see like at night a car drive up and then they don't turn around because we live on a one-way or, a dead-end street. It drives up and then it like stops in front of our house and then backs up. It doesn't like flip a bitch. And so Peaches thinks that it's in. And I was like, well, I think that it was there during the day. And he looked in it and he's just like, no, I think that's the way the lighting is. So we think that that's when it happened.
Yeah.
I'm just pissed. I'm not in a good mood. I have no patience for humor or anything really when I'm in this kind of a bad mood because I'm just like, everything is going wrong now. But I was in a good mood earlier. I did a live stream. I did videos and stuff. And but now I'm in like a really horrid mood. And guys, I have no patience for humor. I don't have a patience for anything right now. So,
well, I was already, it's actually convenient because I was just saying to Jeff before this one. I was like, I have a feeling it's going to be a shorter stream today. Not in a bad way. Because it's not like, oh, well, whatever, just don't feel like being here kind of thing. But it's like some of our best streams have even been like, we just get there, we're here, and then they're over. And so I was already in the mindset of like, this is not going to be a 3-hour night, a 4-hour night. This is going to be like 90 minutes tight. So, and if you can hang with me for 20 more minutes to give the people a show, then we'll call it an early one and chill. And because I need some downtime too, really badly.
What the fuck?
What's up?
Yeah, because somebody stole something from my front yard. Totally justified. Like, really?
That guy
Because
reminds
I'm
me.
in a bad fucking mood because somebody fucking robbed me. That justifies saying that my sister killed herself, you fucking asshole.
Wait, did somebody say that in the
Yes, I bet
chat?
you it was the same person that was giving me shit yesterday. Guys, I'm already in a fucking pissed off mood. All it does is show how absolutely pathetic you are when you have to stoop to that low.
Yeah, that's not
Right.
cool.
And by the way, my sister didn't kill herself.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for rubbing the salt in the wound there. Thank you so much for showing everyone what an absolutely pathetic excuse for a human being you are.
I just wonder what these people think they're gaining out of this. Like, that's what I always want. I want to understand the psychology of what do you get out of this? Is this just like your 5 minutes to forget how much of a piece of shit you are and how shitty your own life is? Like, that's the only thing I think of. Let's read some super chats from some not assholes. Runs of Phantom says, you might be able to appreciate this, Jess. In high school, I had a life-size fiberglass cow that was stolen from my yard. That's fucking retarded, first of all. But like, how? Like, that's one of those things. Okay. The effort put into stealing Anna's lawn ornament is douche level, right? It's douche level. It's somebody who drove by and was was planning on stealing someone's ornament, was probably cruising the neighborhood looking for the one they wanted, and was ready to fucking dismantle this thing, pull it down, throw it in their fucking trunk, and peel away. That's like shithead levels. I'm not saying that stealing your life-size fiberglass cow, was any more noble, but it is a lot funnier. So, I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Russell Hall, I love you dearly, but I'm not going to read the super chat. I know it's you and your sense of humor and the way it is, but I also know Anna and I love Anna, and I know it's just not going to land right now. So I love you. Thank you for your super chat. I'm just not going to read it. Please understand, you guys see what's going on here. Some people are just being assholes today. And so we're not dogpiling on this shitstorm. Please, by all means, what I would love to see is everybody reminding Anna in this chat of exactly why you love her and exactly why she's a wonderful person and why she is such a valuable member of planet Earth, of our YouTube community, and in my life, first of all. So I don't even need you guys to do it because I can do it myself. So, Annie Hoozle. And finally, Philabuti! Anna, go yell at Cecil. That usually cheers you up. That's actually true. Should we get Cecil in here so you can yell at him?
I don't know. I'm not really in the mood to talk to people or anything right now. I think it's like I just need to.
Then let's just call it a day, because that last person coming in was just like the fucking cherry on top of bullshit. And I don't know if you guys know this about me. I'm an empath. I feel people's feelings. I pick up their shit, and I am really, really upset with the shit that just went on in here. I'm really, really unhappy with it. I really fucking hate that it happened on my channel to somebody that I care this much about. And I'm not going to sit here and keep streaming and keep subjecting my friend to, if people are going to keep doing this shit. What I said what I said before that last chat came up of, we'll hang a couple more minutes, but I'm not. Why the fuck would I do that? Why the fuck would I ask my friend? Why would I ask my friend to sit here and hang around if people are going to come in and being assholes? So,
well, Jesse, it's not your fault. You don't need to get upset about it. I'm in an already shitty mood as it was, like before the stream even started. Oh, I realized my camera's on. I was already in a shitty mood, and then nothing has done anything to make it better. I mean, it was a little bit distracting at first, but I'm just not in a good mood today.
No, and I don't blame you, especially at this point, because it's like, yeah, this is supposed to be fun for both of us. This is supposed to be our time to come and hang out and have a good time and enjoy our day, and not for people to come and show up and.
Are you serious?
All right, you guys all need to
fucking
fucking
die. Sick fucking.
You need a fucking
demented person.
All right, guys, I'm reading the last couple of super chats that came in because they're from good people, and then we're getting the fuck out of here because I'm not gonna. Sorry, you win, assholes. You win today. Be proud of yourselves. You fucking win today. Are you happy now? We're gonna close the stream down because I'm not gonna sit here and subject somebody that I care about to your bullshit. Does that make you feel good? Are you proud of yourself? Are you happy? Well, then you can go and sit and think about how proud and happy you are of the thing that you did today. You can go tell all of your friends what an incredible thing you did, what a wonderful thing you did, that you hurt people enough that you made them want that you ruined the best thing that they had to look forward to in their day. And you made them want to just go the fuck away and not be here for the people who actually care.
Well, you know what? Honestly, fuck it. I don't want to let them win. Let's talk about read the super chats. Let's talk about Squid Game. Chat, if you see any of the fake accounts.
You know what the fuck to do.
Yeah. Let's finish talking about Squid Game because you and I haven't talked about it since.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get back into too, because I was like, I want you do such a good job of taking us through the episodes. Russell says, I'm just saying there's a lot of nativity scenes missing to baby Jesus out there.
Oh my God, Russell, no kidding. I took a screenshot. I was on Facebook Marketplace and there was a nativity scene that was missing a baby Jesus. And I took a screenshot and I sent it to the guys in the Jack show. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. I stole all the baby Jesuses. Was his joke that it was karma for me for stealing all the baby Jesuses?
Basically, it was the way it was worded in that exact moment where everything we were saying. I'll read it now.
Okay, but here's the thing. I was a little kid. I wasn't a full grown adult. I wasn't staking out houses to find their baby Jesuses. It was right there. And I was a little kid. I didn't steal anything else my entire life.
The original chat was, you can get an inflatable Oogie Boogie lawn ornament for $65 on eBay. Buy 3 and get the fuck over it. How many people are looking for their baby Jesus?
Oh, fuck you, Russell.
Oh, goodness. All right. And Dr. Coffin Nail says, some asshole stole my mom's decorative mechanical snowman. He tipped his hat last Christmas. Aww. Also, I give you crap, but we love you. Yes. Well, thanks, Dr. Coffin Nails. And yes, everybody, we know you're one of the good ones. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the super sticker from Jeremy 7 Alpha. Love that design once again. And it's hearts. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the love. Thank you so much. Runs with Phantom says, hey, you know what? Praise Anna for having the chutzpah to come on the Matriarchy despite everything. And I agree with that. That's something I will say for Anna, too. There have been other weeks, too, where there's other shit going on in her life. And she shows up, you know? Especially, there have been weeks, too, where it's like, if there's something going on and it's on her channel, where she'll say, can we just not do it or do it short or do it this or whatever? But if it's on my channel, she never tries. No matter what's up, Anna always shows up for me.
Unless I'm out of town, that's the only, unless I really can't be there. Well, to be fair, I did have to go and get my hair done that one day, so I had to.
I don't mean that. I just mean there's never been a time where you're like, I'm just not feeling it. I don't want to do it. You know, there's you've never done that to me ever. So, and
I think it's I don't know. I feel like people can tell when I'm not feeling it, but it's always we can get to the point where we can feel it. You know. That sounded terrible.
No, but I do love that with our shows too. I've had that weeks where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's how I psych myself up for it too. Where it's I don't want to stream, I don't want to do this, but I'm like, but it's just hanging out. The way I get myself into it is you're not streaming, you're not performing, you're just going to hang out with Anna. You're just hanging out with Anna, and then it's always fun. Maisie Mendoza, thank you for the super chat. You're both beautiful people with beautiful souls. Thank you, we appreciate you. Runs with Phantoms says, huzzah, Anna smiling. That's great to see. Yay. It is. Andy McCallum, thank you for the super sticker. He sends a heart. Thank you. Oh, and Patrick T, this one could be construed as multiple things. He sends you a peach, presumably for peaches, but it could also just be my butt. So that's
no, Peaches knows that I'm pissed too, because I go all out for holidays and whatnot. So it's aside from Christmas, I don't really care too much about Christmas. I don't really like Christmas you know what Christmas decorations I like? I like reindeer and I like the Nutcracker, the ballet, because I was in it. Everything else Christmassy, I just don't feel it, right? And I don't like the red and green together. But for every holiday, I've been kind of going out because it's I don't live in an apartment anymore. We live in a house. We've been here. It's okay, I can start decorating and whatnot. And so it's Halloween threw up all over our house. And I was I'm going to go all out now because I'm well, we're starting from nothing. I had 1 or 2 decorations because I was moving so much. We were going from apartment to apartment.
Yeah.
So it's I can't really have too much. But so I was fuck it, I'm going all out. And so Peaches was out of town and he came home and I swear it's Halloween threw up all over our house. And I spent a lot of money, but it's because I'm well, we're going to have it forever. So I might as well just go all out now so I don't have to go shopping next year. And if I do, it's 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
But so all of like one of our neighbors actually came up to our door when we were watching a movie, and she's like an old lady, but so she started talking to us about our decorations, and she's like, "Oh, thank you so much," she's like, "for being so festive all of the time." And I was like,
Aw,
"Oh, that was nice."
that was
But
sweet.
she I don't know, I'm irritated because what it tells me is that this wasn't like some teenagers that came and like just were fucking around.
Yeah,
It was
it
like,
wasn't vandalism. It was
well, it's like, because we have a bunch of teenagers that live in the neighborhood, so I was like, what if they did it as, like, a prank where they, like, took it and, it was, like, just teenagers being teenagers and we were gonna get it back. It was like, no, somebody had seen my decorations and was strategic enough to steal that one on purpose, and then because it's like if we were just being robbed, they would have taken everything, right?
yeah,
But they
exactly.
specifically like, "This is the most expensive one here, and we're gonna go out of our way to take that one."
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I am kinda irritated, but Pete just filed a police report and everything,
Okay,
so
that's good.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm in a bad mood. Let's just talk about Squid Game because I actually do wanna talk about that.
Tight. We'll read the catch up of these last couple supers that just rolled in. Philibooty says, "Do you have a subscriber only chat as an option, or do you have people that are not subbed that chat that you want? It's an option?" I do know that it's an option. I don't want to cut off new people from
Yeah.
joining, from being a part of it, and I don't think it's fair to let a couple assholes cut everyone off. Anyone else from coming in and feeling it out and joining it. Most days I would rather just fight the assholes and combat the assholes. I just don't like it when they're hurting my friends. I really don't.
Usually, I just ignore it, but I think it's just, like, I think I know who that person is, so coming back with multiple accounts, it just shows how, like, much of a fucking loser you are.
Exactly. I think
But
that person's got something wrong in their brain.
mm,
uh, Baby Outlaw, thank you so much for this chat. Someone stole my friend Cintiq 22 wars even delivered to her house. Also, I'm so sorry for what's happened tonight in the chat. There's no reason to be that fucking ugly. No reason at all. Thank you, Sweet Pea. You're
thanks.
an
That fucking sucks.
all. That does suck. Ugh.
I hope that they got that replaced. I mean, I have a Cintiq right here. I use it every single day. Those are expensive. But what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something before you read that super chat.
Oh, sorry.
I don't remember.
Maybe
Keep
Russell
reading
Hall.
so we can get to Squid Game.
Go ahead. Russell Hall says, "What's
I
wrong with
remember.
Mexican flag?" Yes. Also, isn't the Portuguese flag red and green?
Yes, but that has nothing to do with decorations, Russell Hall. What was I gonna say? Oh, the members only,
yeah.
chatter subscribers only. I think that really only works, and it actually is a good thing when you have like 1 million subscribers, because it's like PewDiePie does that where you can't comment on his live streams unless you are a member of his channel. I was watching what's his face the other night, black dude that wears a suit that like it does give relationship advice. I don't know exactly what it was, but so his live streams, he's got like 19,000 people watching, and he has member chat only, which is like that's the only way to stop it from going 1,000 miles a minute. Like if Tim Pool did that, it would be understandable, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's a way to manage the chat when
you have so much going on. If you want to actually be able to engage with your chat, is the only way to keep it so that people can actually read and not just throw their words into the ether. Thank you for the super chat, Mason Van Dusen. Going now. You ladies take care. You take care as well, Macy, and thank you for the love and support. You guys, just mods in the chat. Just look out for anything with haha in its name. If you see haha anywhere in the name, just ban it right away. That's one of the and you'll start looking for this individual is not very clever, so they use the same formulas over and over again for the names and stuff. So you'll recognize it, you'll catch them right away.
Yeah, just permaban them.
Exactly. No, that's in case it wasn't clear. No chances for these fucks. This is just gone. These are not timeouts. These are bye. So Squid Game, yeah. So
Jesse, if you make like Henry Wolf or Mostaverse wrenches, they're like regulars on my like streams.
Brilliant. I will drop them on because we could use some more mods today. All right, Mostaverse, and you said Henry Wolf is another Solid one. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all being here. I do love how I do love how there are some nights on my stream where it's like 90% of the chat are wrenches. So just got so many good people, and they're like, yeah, we're all wrenches. Social justice Jesse's here. Too much toxic males. I'm trying to recover from EBS. Yeah, it was a little difficult for social justice Jesse to deal with all that toxic masculinity last night. So I'm taking refuge in the matriarchy today, I guess. So one of the things I wanted to ask you specifically about was the old man, because we've gotten this.
Yeah, I figured that out instantly.
Yes. So then when we first talked last week, though, it was like you figured that out, and I was like, I kind of felt that too, but you were on like episode 4, and by episode 4 you were like, now I'm not as sure like what the deal was with him. But then I wanted to ask, what tipped you back on to being like, oh yeah, for sure?
When he dies, he purposely, for those that don't know, let me just give like my whole little, I guess, thought process. So
Yeah.
he was number 1.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I have Alzheimer's and like a brain tumor. And I was like, I don't know, you're pretty sharp for having Alzheimer's. I mean, I just watched my grandfather completely deteriorate and pass away from it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. I'm like, you don't like, it seemed kind of fake. I was like, he could be lying, but I'm like, he's number 1 for a reason. And so that was when I was like, oh, he's running the game. You know, this is obviously some sick, twisted genius. He was totally into it too. And I was like, he's the exact opposite of everyone there. And so but the whole, yeah, I'm an old man and I'm dying, I got nothing left to lose, I thought it was funny and endearing. And I'm like, he's the only one I like. There's something off about that, right? Because even the girl, I did kind of like her too, but you can tell like she's got some shit going on. She wasn't happy to be there. She's just there because she had to. And then when at first I kind of was like, oh no, because I forgot what it was. What happens in episode 4 again?
So episode, okay, let me see. So 4 was now caught. Those ones, exactly what happens in those blur to me, because 6 is the one that really sticks out to me then, because that's the marbles. I'm trying to think of exactly where 4
3 is
off.
when they go back home. And 4 is when they play the second game, right?
We finished 4 and I was like, how did you stop? 4 ends at the very end of the tug of war game. Because I remember when I watched that episode, I was like, how did Anna stop here?
Because fucking Peach is like, okay, time to go to bed. And I was like, God damn it. And we were watching it together.
God, that's how it is with me and Jeff sometimes, because Jeff falls asleep late at night. It's like I could sit and binge some shit forever, but I'm like, oh, we gotta wait. Oh man. But yeah, so that's where we are. That was the end of 4, was the tug of war. So
okay, so the thing with the old guy is he knows how to beat every single game. And I get it, yeah, he's old, but he knew, and it was essential for him to be with the main character and the main character working together. So it's like the second I saw that he was number 1 in his excuse, I'm like, oh, you're running everything.
Yeah.
Like you're the mastermind behind this. But then when what is it, episode 8, that fucking broke me. Oh my God, the marbles game. Like I liked all
that was 6. Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, no. I knew. I was like, that fucking dude. I was like, what? Why is he tying that around his shirt? He's got fucking pockets. From the
second Sung-woo said, like, I know a way we can both win, I was like, you are gonna scam this guy to his death.
Yeah.
I knew it. And so then when he did that, I was like, whatever you did, somehow you took his marbles. Like, you have his marbles.
He takes it. He's like, hand it to me. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. I would say, no, I'm going to hold on to them. You can tie it around my neck, which I was like, it's stupid. Tied it around your neck like that. Somebody can run up and take it. I'm like, that's a terrible idea.
Like, that's way more. It's like, why are you not? You're too, that whole scene, that whole thing. I'm just like, you are too trusting. You're too trusting. Ah.
Well, you know what's funny is I thought Sung-woo and the dude with the tattoo on his neck, they have so much in common.
They do. They do. Like, they really do.
One is the the typical street bad guy, and Sung-woo is the like business tycoon bad guy.
That's so funny too, though, because then the additional parallels where it's
The way
chick.
that they form teams, like, they literally did the exact same thing, but one is Sung-woo was trusted because he's the genius that went to the SNU School of Business and all that, but it's like but he's in the yeah, that's why I liked when, what's his face said, he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, if I'm all those things, how come you're in here with me too?"
And then it's even bro, that was such oh my god, that
That
moment
was
was
such a
so
good line.
fucking great. That there was such a great that's such a great mirror now parallel and thinking about it too, because it's like she is with the women in the show, the curly haired chick, where she first helps out the tattoo face guy, then he betrays her, then she kills him. And then with Sae-byuk and Sung-woo, it's like they didn't trust her at first. She spares him because he's the one, Gyeong's the one who's going to go kill him. She spares him and he returns it by betraying and killing her. So it's like the weird inverse, even way it goes with the way they interact with like the female additions to the crew. That was something. Did you find it refreshing too, the way the show was not afraid to just have the male characters go, we don't want to play with the girls. The girls are weak. We don't want to play with them.
Yeah.
Like, God.
No, me and Peaches were like, because they go out, they straight up say, no, we need to have as many men on the team as possible, because they know they're like, women, it's gonna be something. And even that like one crazy chick, which I knew she wasn't gonna die, I was like, oh my god, just partner with her and let the old guy go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
no, but I thought that it was refreshing because I telling Peaches, I was like, could you imagine? I'm like, yeah, they're all Korean and then there's one Indian dude. If this was made in America, they'd be throwing temper tantrums, because if it was like in America and a majority of the people were white, they'd be like, or if it was in fucking Sweden or like something like that, and there was like a Somali dude instead of like a Swedish guy, they'd be like, oh my god, it's so racist, they're all white. It's like, I don't see anyone calling racism because it was like a 99% Korean cast.
Exactly. Like now everyone's praising the diversity factor. Oh my god, isn't it great we're all enjoying this Korean movie? It's like, yeah, but Korea just made a movie about Korean people. Like that's not diversity. That's like or just made a TV show about Korea. It's like it's exactly. And but it was so refreshing. It's like,
well, I liked it because they were right. I was thinking the exact same thing. I'd be like, I'd want to be on the team with all the guys.
Right? Then there's so many times too in my life today when people want to talk about women and feminism, where you're in a group, a male feminist, and I just want to bitch slap all of them and explain to every one of them how their perspective on feminism and female empowerment is actually sexist. Or conversely, when you're in a group of guys who want to talk a bunch of big circles about how they're not actually sexist, you're like, please, I wish you would just fucking come out and tell me how you really feel about women, because you do think we're weak and you do think we're pathetic and you do think all those things. And I would so much rather you just fucking tell me that than sit here and pretend like you respect me and all this shit and I'm not this and I'm not that. Like, I don't care if you're fucking sexist. I would rather deal with somebody who knows they're sexist and who is willing to tell me exactly how they feel about women and womankind than someone who wants to make sure that I don't have my fifis hurt and they can build me up and feel so special. That's so refreshing about this show. It's not afraid to just call shit out. It's not afraid to just show things as they are.
Well, you know what else that I didn't notice about in the episode until later is the entire time they had every single game painted on the walls behind all the bunks. And as they took bunks away, you could see what the games were going to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. But it was funny because the first game, it didn't matter if you were a boy or a girl. The second game, it didn't matter if you were a boy or girl. It was all about like your intelligence. And even that's what the old guy says. He's like, even with tug of war, it's not about the strongest, it's about the smartest and how you can overpower your opponent. Because I don't know anything about martial arts really, but I know that, is it Tai Chi or it's the one that Bruce Lee did. It's like where if you're smaller, you learn how to
Wing Chun.
Okay, no, not that.
So
it's like a more mainstream one, but it's
Aikido?
where you can use your opponent's size against them.
Aikido.
Maybe.
So Tai Chi has like some of that elements in it, but Tai Chi's not really used, like it's not really combat.
Is it Jeet Kune Do or something?
Oh, Jeet Kune Do is the one Bruce Lee created. That's what Bruce Lee studied Wing Chun, which was a more was specifically the martial art designed for women, originally developed for women or for weaker people to combat against stronger people. He developed Jeet Kune Do. That was his style that came from his study in Wing Chun.
Jiu-jitsu. Thank you. That's what I was talking about.
Jiu-jitsu, that's different. Jiu-jitsu's not. Jiu-jitsu actually, there's a lot of moves in jiu-jitsu that require, there are certain moves in jiu-jitsu that require strength and overpowering. Although it
Well,
is.
but the thing is, you have to like, because what was it? One of my coworkers back when I was in college, she told me how he was at a party and this like giant dude wanted to fight this like tiny little dude, and he's like, yeah, this kid knew jujitsu and he beat the shit out of him. It was hilarious.
So jits is a really good one because that is one that can level the playing field, and it's one like jujitsu ends up in a jujitsu ground fighting ends up in every other kind of sport that had like every other kind of grappling has ground fighting. If you look at even the WWE, even it's not a sport, you know, it's just entertainment. A lot of their moves when they do their submissions are based off of things from jiu-jitsu. All of Krav Maga ground fighting and submissions really are pulled from jiu-jitsu. Bye, Dermot McQuaid. Thank you for being here. So Bruce Lee, I think he had little bits of all that, but Jeet Kune Do is a
well, I was just looking for the generic one that I knew.
Yeah. So but, any of those would track. Jiu-jitsu, Jeet Kune Do, Aikido. There's a few of those that, where they're specifically designed so that you use the weight and strength of the other person against them. And even if you're smaller and bittier, can fuck them up.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like all of those games were about how to figure out your opposite opponent. You didn't need to be, obviously being strong helped, but being able to figure out the game the fastest was, which is why, like, you know, the chick survived for so long, that like psycho chick, because she's like, and that's I think why the bad guys, because all of those people in there, they all have a checkered past. Even what's the girl's name?
Cybyuk.
She's not a bad person, but she's willing to do whatever it takes to get what she needs.
And we already get from her background that she already has done some shady things to, you know,
So it's because even the main guy, he's not like an upstanding citizen, but he's not a bad person.
He's not. There's a really
decisions, you know.
There's a really clear delineation in the show between bad people and good people. The only truly honest character that dies in the show is Ali. And it's in service of Sang-woo's character development. He's the sacrifice. He's the honorable sacrifice in service of making the commentary about the evil. But what's really cool is how Jeff said something. It was something he didn't originally like. It was something about maybe the old guy letting him win or something like that, or the old guy giving him the out of basically calling him on it and not. Because I knew from the beginning when he started getting confused in that game that he was doing it on purpose to let him win. I didn't expect him to call him out on it, but it was weird because it actually gave him the moral out. It gave him the out and said, no, it's okay that you're like, I understand. Like he basically gave him like the last rites almost before he died to, you know, absolve him of what would have been his only mistake so far in the game. And it's like, because of that, it's almost like the Friday the 13th, like the virgins survive, you know, like and it has a little bit of that magic that we talk about. There's a little bit magical how this one character somehow gets spared from having to do anything heinous and awful to survive in this place. He's a little bit blessed. He's a little bit looking after. It's kind of all makes sense though when you find out who number one is. And so you're like, oh, at a point he really does have a bit of a guardian angel, because like,
well, it's funny because he watches him. He was the only one that came up and talked to him, the old man. And so immediately he had an interest because he's like, oh, this guy he's got compassion, right? Because he's talking to the old man. And then he goes and visits him when they get sent back, which I think that episode, I was like, there's no way they're letting any of them out alive. But the fact that they do, and they know that, you know, nobody's going to believe them if they go and report it. And also they got nowhere else to go. So the fact that they come back willingly, I thought that was fantastic.
That was brilliant. Might be one of the most brilliant things that the show chose to do. That was the first time,
Sorry, my phone's going off.
No, you go for it. I would say that moment. So if you guys aren't sure what we're talking about, so there's a moment, they're all brought to this place. They're all essentially kidnapped and brought to this island to sign up to play this game. And they have to sign into the rules, which say that a player cannot stop playing, or if a player, refuses to play, they'll be eliminated. Players must continue to play the games unless a majority of the players decide to stop playing. In which case, that's it, done, over. And so they do. They, after the first game, they all take a vote, and it's the deciding vote is number one, which is so fascinating later, because then you realize he only, like, the reason he votes no.
I thought he was going to vote to keep playing.
I thought he was too, and I was convinced he was. I'm like, otherwise the show's over, right? And then when he hits no, I'm like, when you go back now, knowing all that information, it's like, oh man, he was probably so excited to hit no in the moment. Maybe you get the impression like this is based on the way that the soldiers are acting about it. You get the impression this really hasn't happened before, that everyone just decided to vote right off the get-go and say, fuck this, let's get out. And so they're
it
like
was
not
pretty
even
split, the fact that it came down to one.
Right. And it was also cool because like you got the sense like the soldiers weren't even sure if they were allowed to actually let these guys go or not. And so when you go back and realize who number one is in that moment, he's like, ooh, what a fun thought experiment. Let's see who we can bring back. You know, like it's
well, almost everyone came back.
Almost,
too.
it was like less than 20 people or something didn't return. And exactly that. And I loved too how putting that in the first episode also, it was like a great little gift to the audience because it answered all those questions, all of those. Well, what if they just got out? How can they get there? They'll just go to the police and they'll just do this and they'll just do that. All right.
Well, and it shows them like him going to the police and they don't believe him. And
exactly.
Then
these guys are destitute, in massive amounts of debt, you know, barely clinging to life. What police officer is going to believe some rich millionaire dragged them to an island and as also when you conveniently
offer them all? It's so ridiculous, and especially because these are all scummy people. Like even fuck, I cannot remember their names. The bad SNU guy. Sungwoo. Even Sungwoo, it's like he's somebody that the police would believe and take seriously, but because he did some shitty business scheme, what it was that he was doing insider trading, and he was wanted by the police, and he lost like the company billions of dollars. Yeah, if he would get arrested, and so it's like, yeah, nobody is going to believe you because it's so ridiculous, and it's like it's coming. They're like, "Are you drunk? Like you're a scumbag? Like why would we believe you with all of that?" It's
Yeah. Fernabelle, I'm glad you're actually enjoying the spoilers. And the fun thing is too, there's so much detail in the show that we can't possibly spoil everything. The joys and delights of the show are not necessarily the twists and turns, but the suspense of when it tells you exactly what's gonna. This show is so honest. That's like I said in that first interaction with this businessman in the suit. You know, with the play the game with me, I'll give you money, but if you lose, I get to slap you. You know, it's so honest. It's you know, I get the free. I have all this money. I don't mind paying it out to you. You have no money, so what do I get out of you? I get the enjoyment of being better than you. I get the enjoyment of kicking you around and treating you like you're less than because I'm rich. Right in that little moment, in that little scene, it tells you everything. It's like a microcosm of the perspective of this entire show. And because it lays it out to you so honestly, because the show is so honest about what it's going to do, a lot of the suspense comes from dramatic irony, from the fact that they tell you what's going to happen, and we, the audience, really know what's going to happen. But the players, sometimes even if they're expressly told, just can't believe it because it's so, you know, horrific. And so the suspense comes from, and the excitement and the thrill comes from watching the reality of the situation sink into these people and watching it change them and watching them figure out what they're actually going to do. You know,
well, it's like the second you see that she's injured, you know she's going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the second you see it.
And I knew too, the episode, at the end of the episode before, I were sitting there, I'm like, what? Whoa, oh no. And Jeff was like, what? I'm like, it looked like she just got stabbed or something in the episode before. And then they reveal it in the next, like, oh, she did get injured. Yep.
Well, you know what was funny is I knew exactly how to beat that game. They tell you to take off your shoes. They don't say you have to leave it there. What I would have done is everyone take your shoes and pass them up to the guy in front. You throw each shoe on each one as hard as you can. And then the one that breaks, you don't obviously jump on. That's how to beat that game.
Yep.
And nobody figured it out. One guy was able to see the glass. But if the old man, if the old man was there, he would have told them how to beat it. Right.
You have the perfect number of shoes too, because you have you know, tile for every player.
That's how you beat that game, and nobody figured it out.
The one guy the mathematician who figured out the odds and was like, fuck it. He was that scene was just like, oh my God.
And I was like, because we were like sitting there, it's like, would you want to go first or last? I was like, 100% last. Like, I usually always want to go first.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, in this situation, you want to go last because that way you know how to beat it.
Exactly. That was such a great episode for dramatic irony too, because like we saw them reveal the board, the playing board in the VIP room, and then we got the sense that the VIPs were getting told how the game worked before we knew, and so they're making the commentaries like, "Oh, you just lost your bet," like when they switched the order, and so we're like, "Oh wait, going last is good. Oh my god." And it's just like, oh, what a trip. But that's the moment too, like in that show, that's the moment that like the James Bond movie's afraid to do. Literally every James Bond movie has a moment where it's like, there's no possible way for James Bond to get out of this alive. And he does every single fucking time. And then No Time to Die ends with like, there is a million ways for James Bond to get off this island. And he just fucking gives up. A character like Guyang is not going to die because he's magically protected, because in that moment when he's going to pick the one thing that will make him absolutely die in this game, out of nowhere, his magical guardian angel, Joe Schmo, who we've never met before this moment, wants to have his time. And that's movie magic. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be exactly how it would happen in real life. Well, in real life, what are the odds? Well, in real life, shit like that does happen. And that's the point of movies and television and writing stories, is not to fucking write the documentary of I woke up and drank tea and I stopped at the stop sign and the other car ran the stop sign, but I saw it in time so he didn't hit me. That's not a fucking story. The story is I stopped at the stop sign, but I didn't see the other car and they hit me, and now we have action. Like, there's this is not afraid to do this. This show is not afraid to say, we are showing you the most special and important moments in these people's lives, in their days, and in this story. We don't have to show you them taking a shit or unwrapping a fucking candy bar. We have to show you these moments because they matter, and they matter because we wrote them to matter. We don't have to fucking pretend that we shot a documentary and this is all slice of life and so it has to happen exactly that way. No! Fucking fiction is supposed to have rules, parameters, guideposts, without which, how could you possibly subvert someone's expectations or surprise them in any way if we don't know what to expect?
Well,
You know?
I thought that what could potentially happen before we see that she's injured is, I was like, okay, either he's obviously gonna live until the very last round, right? Because he had the guy that was in charge of it running it, and I knew, again, I'm like, yeah, this guy is. So when they show the guy that's running it, the brother, his little room, and I knew, I was like, motherfucker put the phone line down wrong. I was like, he puts it down, like they specifically show the shot and he put it down wrong.
Yeah.
But when the guy he's like, oh yeah, he's not gonna, the main guy, our host, isn't gonna make it because of the costume and whatnot, and right there, and then when the old man is like, oh yeah, is this where I used to live? And he goes over there so nobody can see that he actually doesn't die. I was like, he's obviously the one that's writing it. So I was like, okay, I confirmed it. I knew it, and then I wasn't sure, and then I knew it again. Yeah. But how they had the moment with like the two girls where she's like, yeah, I realized I have nothing to get out. Like, I have nothing to live for. You go to the island and you drink mojitos.
That was because from the minute they started that scene, I knew that from the minute they introduced the rules, I knew that's how that scene was going to end.
I did too.
Because of that, because we don't really know anything about this character yet. Like, we don't know, like, she was just introduced in the last episode, just enough for us to care a little bit, you know? So, or the 2 episodes before, whatever it was. So just enough for us to care a little bit, but like, even once they start telling their lives, it's like, oh, that was such great dramatic irony, because as they're telling their life stories, you hear how much she has to live for. And this girl literally has nothing and no future and all this. So it's just riding it towards that moment. That's why I cried the hardest at that probably than anything else.
She was just like, yeah, she's like, I got out of prison and there was just that guy waiting for me. And I was like, yeah, she really doesn't have anything. But the thing that they did was, it's like all the people that you care the most about are the ones that have a child connected to them.
Yeah.
Like, main guy's got his daughter, she has her brother, and then Ollie had his baby boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, sweet Jesus. So what I thought, the whole like mojitos on the thing, I thought that he was going to sacrifice himself so that way she could win at the end. Like, I thought he was going to get injured and he's just going to be like, I'll help you, and then you win, and then they were going to find some way to get out of it, and then they would be on the island drinking mojitos, and he's going to get the girl in the end.
So when that episode, when we got to before the injury, at the end of the episode 5, I thought, because obviously Squid Game was going to be
Wait, which one's 5? What is that? The marbles? Or is that 6?
Or sorry, episode 8. My bad. 8. The penultimate one, the one right before the end. 6 is marbles. 7 is 6 is the marbles for sure. And then 7 might not have 7. I think is the episode that doesn't have a game because it's all it's the front man one, I think, with all the other stuff going on. And then 8 has the glass, and then 9 is the last one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, no, for sure. 7. What?
Fucking pissed.
Yeah. Or is there a game?
No,
between
8 is the marbles one, right? No,
6 is marbles.
6 is marbles. 8
is the glass. Was there something in between those two though?
No, because she dies in the last one. 9 is the last one.
Yeah,
I'm like, how fucking long are these episodes? Because they're good.
They are.
They fit so fucking much in each episode.
It's true, and it's it's cool too because it's like it's 9 episodes and there's 6 games, so only 3 episodes don't have a game in it, and you don't even really notice it because there's so much. Like those episodes are put in where they're needed because there's so much plot you have to get through. They're adding characters, they're adding plot elements. So there's so much, you have to add in those episodes. So
it's like the most stuff happens in the ones that don't really have a game because it's learning about the character. So they're not even boring.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like trying to figure out what the next game is or following the cop when he's like investigating everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think once they introduce him too, then it really picks up on the when you're just as interested in what's happening out of the, players arenas as you are, with the players themselves.
Do you think it was fucked up that they left them with the knives?
Dude, that was one of the more fucked up pieces.
I was just like, at first I was like, why the fuck is the steak like super, super rare?
Right.
And I was, you just see the guy, and I was like, why did they put her in because at first I was like, how is she going to hide the fact that she's bleeding?
Yeah.
Because I thought they were going to give her a cocktail dress. So the fact that they gave her a suit,
yeah.
I'm like, I knew, I was like, they know that she's hurt. That's why they gave her a suit.
Yeah.
So she could hide it. I was like, because there's no reason for them not to give her a dress.
Yeah.
Unless they know.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they left them there with the knives, I was like, oh my God. I was like, you motherfuckers fucking know. Because I knew that the last game was the Squid Game. Yeah. So I'm like, it has to be 2 people.
So I originally thought when they had those 3 of them there, and I figured it was going to be Squid Game. It's kind of obvious. But I thought what they were going to pull was something where it was like, okay, well, it's a game with teams. So it's going to be the 3 remaining players against 3 of the suits. Like they were gonna have to force the suits to play against them as like the opponents, because when I was thinking about with Squid Game, it's like there's only the offense gets to win, so the defense just has to like hold them off as long as they can, I guess.
Or
so
kill
I'm like, what? Or kill them all, yeah. So I'm like, this would be a game where it could make sense to be like, okay, you guys are the offense playing against the soldiers. That's the factor in the game, is like, these are the people you're playing against, and that Sung Woo was going to end up being the one that got sacrificed, and that the 2 of them were actually going to both win. I thought at that point in the game, I was like, I think that they're actually both going to win, make it out, and split it. But then as soon as they showed that she was injured, I was like, she's
dead. No, and then that I knew he was pretending to sleep, and the second he got over there, he was going to kill him. And so when she says no and then she starts dying, I was like, don't leave her. Don't leave her, because I'm like, don't turn your back on her, because the second you do, he's going to kill her. And that's exactly what happened. I was so fucking like, when you first see them, the suits, I was like, oh my God, they're actually going to do something nice. Because I was like, she should tell them like, hey, before I play the next game, can I get like medical attention? And I was like, I feel like they would do that. I don't know. Something in me was like, if she asked for it, I think they would, because there was nothing in the clause saying that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I
I was conflicted because it was weird because it was like, even though they showed everyone just let them die and stuff before that, it felt like the rules were different for them. I mean, it kind of demonstrated like they just had this fancy dinner. It's demonstrated that the rules are different for you guys. Now you're getting something nice because you've made it this far. So it's like, yeah, I felt that too. I was like, just ask, just tell somebody, like show somebody, tell somebody, get help. Like, God, even if not, like you could have said something initially right after the game and maybe
because they
guys would
let
help
them
you
go
catch
to the
up.
bathrooms to change, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, so if she told them like away from the guys, so the guys didn't see, and she said like to the person that was outside the door, hey, like I can't put this on. I need to see the doctor.
Yeah.
And if they would either respond or they wouldn't respond. But then once I saw that she was in a suit, I was like, oh, they know they're not helping. There's nothing that they can do.
Yeah.
But like that's when you know he truly is evil. Like the Ollie thing broke him, but him killing her, you could just see the look in his eyes. He's like, I'm past the point of no return. It's like when Anakin killed Mace Windu versus when Anakin's killing the younglings, you know?
Exactly. It's like killing
Ollie was his Mace Windu, and then she's
Exactly.
the younglings.
I was like, that was the moment that turned him into the person that could do that later, but it's like a whole different guy. Like there was no holding back. There was no moral qualm. There was no more misgivings.
Yeah, because there was no point in him actually killing her because it's not like she was a threat to him. There was no dependence on like his life. Like he had to kill Ollie to be able to survive. Like it was either him or Ollie, and so he chose himself.
That's
versus the guy that actually had a child.
That's what Jeff said he didn't like. Jeff didn't like that Sungwoo kills himself at the very end there. And when I thought about it more, I did. Because again, it was like that was when I realized how important it was for Guyong not to compromise his morality. And that was actually an important part of the story all along that I hadn't even realized until the moment that Sungwoo kills himself, because Sungwoo has been so unrepentant this whole time. And it's in this final moment when it's like, when there's, and granted, it's when, he knows he's going to die anyway, when he's, already morally wounded and probably isn't going to make it no matter what and all this shit. It's in that final moment where he finally realizes who the better man is, and finally like has that clarity of what he is and what Guyong is by comparison. And so like doing that absolves Guyong from either having to do it himself, which I also love that moment that he didn't do it. I love that, like, he's gonna, and then he sticks into the sand.
Oh my God, when he like blocks it with his whole hand, I was like,
oh, brutal.
Oh my God, I was like, holy shit.
I think that was like the converting, because that's who Guyong really becomes though by the end though. It's not, he couldn't kill his friend. And then not only could he not kill his friend, he couldn't
even knowing that his friend is a murderer.
Exactly. He couldn't abandon his friend to death, knowing that that's all he deserved anyway. He still couldn't do that.
Well, so I thought it was like, because I knew he wasn't going to kill him when he went back. He wanted to like try to help him or say like, no, I want to stop playing the game. And they're like, oh, if he stops it right now, he's going to lose money. Even me, I'm like, motherfucker, you're fucking stupid. Like, what do you mean you don't? I'm like, everyone died. I'm like, you're not going to be able to help her brother. You're not going to be able to help your mother, his mother. You're not going to be able to help anyone if you don't take their fucking money.
But that's why it was the most important moment, because this whole show,
I thought the old guy was going to have him, or like, I thought one of them was going to just tell the suit to shoot him.
Yeah,
like,
I actually thought that was going to happen too, but I'm glad.
Or he was going to sit with him until he died. Because there wasn't really a time limit on when they needed to finish.
No, that's true.
So I thought he was just going to sit with him and like talk and hold his hand until he died.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't going to kill him.
Yeah, of course not. But the coming back and the being willing to sacrifice I feel like that was like the final characterization for this guy. We saw the guy who all he cared about was his life and his money, and that was it. And nothing else mattered. The things he wanted.
I know. What I think really said a lot about him is that even when he was like the wealthy success, I'm like, his mother was still living in the slums.
Yeah.
So that kind of lets you know who he is. Oh, hello, doggy. Who he is before all of that happened. Because it's like,
Very
What's
true.
his face is like literally, yeah, he doesn't have anywhere else to go, but he's living with his mother. If
Yeah.
he was like the successful, his mother wouldn't be in that situation. But the other guy, the big success, his
Yeah.
mom still has like a shack of a shop. And so
Still,
it's like
exactly.
the
Exactly.
slight storytelling, like once you've seen it and you go back and think about it, it's like the writing is on the wall with everything.
And all that stuff's on purpose, right? Because they make a point of Guyung talking about how he's gonna make this money, he's gonna take care of her, because of course, if he actually had money, he would take care of his mother. And so they make the point of that. Of course, if he had money, he'd be taking better care of her. He's just an idiot who can't hold on to his money. But then that exactly sets you up for that reflection to realize, well, if of course you would do that if you were successful, then why is this rich fancy pants guy, why is his mother still busting ass, selling fish at the market? No, it's just good storytelling. Like, you don't have to be clever, you don't have to be subversive, you don't have to be all these fancy things. You just have to figure out how to communicate the information you need to tell to your audience in a compelling way that doesn't, stop all the time. Like, they've written books about this. Fucking Sid Field. It's fucking the guy who wrote Save the Cat. Like, I have like 3 different screenwriting books in my home, sitting on my shelf, that literally give you a blueprint. That are like, if Sid Field tells you right off that there are 2 ways to make a good feature film. You can write a 3-act structure, or you can write an epic journey, and these are the only 2 good, successful ways consistently to write a feature film. With some people have broken the mold, some people have managed to do whatever, but for the most part, you can go to any movie, any good movie, and it can be broken down into a basic 3-act structure, or it can be followed tracked beat by beat as a hero's journey. There are
I
blueprints.
totally missed everything that you said, so I feel bad.
I was just talking about the refreshing elements of the show. I was talking about how great of an observation that you made about Sung-woo and his mother, and how the reason we understand that that's a purposeful commentary in the show is by the way Guyong is with his mother. And if I had all this money, I would be taking care of you and you wouldn't be working this hard. We are told that, of course, if he had more money, his mother would be taken care of. And that juxtaposes us later with the guy who does have the money, who's still
because we get introduced to him before we even see him because of the picture, and he's just like, oh yeah, Sung-woo, right? That's his name.
Sung-woo, yeah.
Yeah, Sung-woo's this genius that went to business school, and I used to drive him there, and like the mom's got her a picture of him up in the shop, and it's like, so we knew him before we even saw him. And again, it's like, well, he's the successful rich billionaire, or he's a successful rich guy. Why is his mom living like that?
Exactly.
So it's little things that you don't really think about until you see him, and then it's like, oh, dude, that was that guy that he was friends with.
Yeah, and
so
like that. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but it's stuff like that in the moment where you hear him, talking to the mother about like, oh, well, I drove him, I did all this stuff for him. And it just sounds like him whining about how no one's giving him a handout. But then once you actually meet this guy, you're like, okay, you do whine about people not giving you handouts, and you do look for handouts. But also it does kind of sound like maybe this friend owed you a handout, like it's that. It's like there's those layers that we don't learn about until we get deeper into it.
Well, but him explaining that though, it's like, that he wasn't always like this kind of loser. It's like, oh no, he went out of his way to like take, because he's older than Sung-woo. So because he was the one that was driving him to school and whatnot. I'm like, he's going out of his way to drive this guy to school. He obviously, he lives with his mother. He does care about his daughter. He does. People like him, and they're all just disappointed in the fact that he's a loser because they saw he wasted his potential. He knows it, and everyone around him knows it. Even his daughter knows it. Yeah. And then you find out when he talks to the old man, he's like, yeah, I was successful, and then shit happened with my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so same kind of thing with Sung-woo, but he didn't take care of anyone. He's only out for himself. And I think you talked about the hero's journey. I think the reason why this show is like the most view, I actually tweeted this earlier. I think, let me see if I can pull it up. Somebody showed like the statistic on how many people actually watch Squid Game. Okay, so the top 5 shows on Netflix is number 5 is Sex/Life, which had 67 million viewers. The Witcher, that had 76 million viewers. Lupin, that had 76. So Lupin and Witcher are actually tied. Bridgerton, which had 82 million. Squid Game is 111 million like people that watch the show.
Wow.
And so it's like, yeah, people like this because even it has all of the basic building blocks of a hero's journey.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the greatest things about it, though, is that, and I was actually, nerd alert, I was watching an interview with Leonard Nimoy, and he talked about that movie that he did with Michelle Pfeiffer. Is it called The Good Mother? Or is it something along the lines?
Someone.
But it's with Michelle Pfeiffer, where she basically loses custody of her child because what she's dating Liam Neeson, and like the child crawls into bed with them, but they had like, they were sleeping and they had sex, so like the biological dad finds out, and so she loses custody because she's like a negligent mother. But Leonard Nimoy talks about it and how he's like, yeah, it would have been more of a commercial success if she got reunited with her child in the end, and people got mad at her because she makes these decisions. But he's like, but you guys don't understand, she's not a noble person. Everything she does is because that's who she is. So you guys wanted her to be something that she's not. I was kind of irritated when he beat the game, and I'm like, it said a year later, and I was like, okay, so he's got his daughter, he got the mom and the little boy, he got the mom out of North Korea, he got the little boy out of the orphanage, but he didn't do anything.
No, he just,
that was his character.
Yeah.
He didn't want the money. He was resentful of the fact that he won. He didn't do any of the things he promised anyone he would do because he was fucking broken.
Yeah.
And he has to have that realization when he meets the old man again. And the old man, I don't think was ever going to tell him, but the old man saw that he was broken, and he's like, I like this guy. I need to reignite his spirit because he was broken.
Do you think that the old man planted the woman so he would lose that bet on purpose for that reason? Remember the whole bet, the thing that really inspires Gyeong's, it really gets him back on the really gets him the fire going, is the fact that at the last moment, at the 0 hour, because he makes that bet, I'll bet you that homeless by midnight, no one will come to help him. And that woman comes over earlier, checks on him, walks away.
I thought that was a
0
dude.
hour. What?
I thought that was a dude.
Oh, maybe it was. I thought she had long hair or whatever it was.
No, I thought it was like just a guy with like, because it was like shoulder. I thought it was a guy.
Okay. I don't recall his video. So whoever came to check on him and walked away came back with the police at the 0 hour and won the bet. So that's actually an interesting thought. Is then like, maybe this guy's still fucking with Gyeong. Maybe he knows. Maybe it's that. Maybe he realizes we're the opposite. I'm the guy who lost all my faith in humanity. You're the guy who still has it. So let me set you up one more time to get you, to get you like, okay, you think you lost your faith? No. Maybe he planted maybe he let him win the bet so that he'd, have that fire.
Maybe. I mean, that was one that it's like, it doesn't matter to me either way, because it's the end result that matters in that moment.
It's the magic movie moment again. It's that magic cinema moment where it has to happen that way because he has to win that bet, because he has to be right, because he's our character. We are rooting for him now. We've gone on this journey with him now to the point where he can stand there knowing what it's going to cost him and say, I would rather walk out of here with my dignity than with this money. And actually, I'm going to revise my interpretation of Sungwoo. I don't think Sungwoo actually kills himself as a noble sacrifice. I think he kills himself because he would rather be dead than leave without the money.
Well, I think he knew he was going to die anyway. So it was like he took fate into his own hands. He
realized there was no way for him to win. So it was like, when Gyeong gave him the out, I think that's it. I think if Gyeong gave him the out and took him out of there, he probably could have survived. But I think he would have rather died in there than left without the money.
That too, but also I think because he wanted to call it so that way neither of them got the money so they could both live. Yeah. And I think he's like, no, fuck that shit.
Someone needs to take this money.
Yeah.
Jeremy 7 Alpha, thank you for the super chat. Jesse and Anna make Brie Larson and Kathleen Kennedy look like Jabba the Hutt. Thank you. Sorry I had to try. Oh, I got to go. Good night, ladies. Well,
good night.
Thank you so much for that super chat. I hope we caught you before you left. If not, I hope that you get to hear us. Appreciate your super chat so much. Did have one from Russell. Now this is very out of context, but I enjoy it just as much. God gave us buttholes for a reason. I'm sure there was a context to that made sense at some point, and that time is not now. And he also said, you really don't use an opponent's strength against them in martial arts. You circumvent it. Jiu-jitsu and Salat are the most effective.
Oh my God, none of this really matters, Russell Hall. I love you, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Russell Hall is the king of semantics.
And you know what? I hate semantics.
I
I'm
know.
like, I don't. This is something that drives me fucking crazy. And I noticed only fucking men do this. They want to argue the most minute little fucking detail, and it's like, it doesn't fucking matter. You knew what I meant.
To be
It's
fair,
one of my biggest pet peeves.
I do that, but I also do have a lot of traits that have been
Not in the
described as
same way
annoyingly
you know when to
masculine.
stop.
What?
Men will, you know when to stop. You know when
Sometimes
I'm
I
like,
don't.
this is what I mean. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, guys do this and it drives me fucking crazy because it's like it's almost to the point where with some like guys that I've had to deal with, and it's like, I feel like we just have to record every conversation because you're going to go back around to argue semantics and you're just going to come back to the conclusion that it didn't fucking matter.
Right.
It doesn't fucking matter. Oh my God. You guys knew the point I was going to make. I don't have the patience for it today.
I'm with you on that kind of stuff too, though, where it's like, it's really frustrating sometimes when you're trying to make a point and you're like, you know, the point I'm trying to make, and you're only arguing these semantics because you really want to be right about something in this moment. But like, it's fine. I don't care. Sure, you're right. You're right. You're right. Now, can we just please get back over? Because we're like stuck splashing around in a little mud puddle. I'm trying to dive into the
Well, no,
fucking
it's
beach
like,
here.
oh, the sky is blue. It's like, actually, it's this shade of indigo. It's like,
Actually,
it
the sky
doesn't
isn't
fucking
blue at all. It's your
matter.
eyes perceiving the colors from the light waves. The blue waves travel at a different speed, and your eye can perceive them. So that's how
It doesn't matter, and it's one of my biggest fucking pet peeves.
Yeah.
But where were we, to get back to something that actually had to do with
deciding. We had actually sort of, that's why I pulled the series. We actually kind of had finished, deciding on what we thought Sungwoo's motivation at the end was. Now, I'm excited. So that's why I said that Jeff felt like the last episode was a bit of didn't really pack a huge punch. And I can see what he means. But I also said, I'm okay with it because
it sets up for season 2.
Exactly. It does it on purpose. And now, like I said, we're so used to this like pilot season. We need a season finale. Every finale has to be big and explosive. But we forget that big explosive season finales, typically by default, unless they have, a cliffhanger built into them, explosive season finales, very typically end things. If we bring them to the big conclusions we're looking for, they end things, and then you kind of have to start fresh in season 2, which is why we have all these great pilots seasons with these great gimmicks. And then season 2 is just them kind of redoing it because they told the start, middle, and end of the story in the first season. And
well, this show was about, remember the main character's name?
Gayoung. Yeah.
Gayoung. I know, I'm so bad with these names.
I'm probably butchering the pronunciation anyway.
So I think the way that it ended was the way that it needed to end for his character. The season 1,
yeah,
when you actually like get down to the meat and potatoes of it, it's about him. And so he goes from like this docile guy that just kind of like Sungwoo, yells at him to like berate him to get a rise out of him earlier on. It's like, yeah, you're a fucking loser that had potential and you just let things happen to you and you never take charge of your fucking life. Whereas Sungwoo's like, I'm taking charge of my life. I'm making sure I don't die, in retrospect, by killing other people. And so the very last episode, that moment where he doesn't get on the plane, that's him finally taking control of his life.
Exactly.
And the whole season is, him developing as a character. I know it's twisted, but it is a twisted hero's journey.
It is.
And if the show ended, it's that complete character arc. But because it probably is going to get a second season, now we know he's gone through that and he's coming back for them.
Exactly. And there's so much more of the story to tell. I was even saying to Jeff, one of the great things about just picking an angle on the actual games and following it through. Here are the 6 games we're going to play. We're going to play all 6 games. We're going to play them in this way. And then making a bold choice off the get-go. Okay, we're going to cut down the herd so that it's cut it down by half right from the get-go. Oh my God, that body count. Wow, that really sets the pace for the show. But now it opens them up in a future season. Okay, what if next season the first game doesn't kill nearly as many people? And so it takes longer for a panic to be like, so things, you always have the gimmick of the game if you want to tell, you have like, as the backdrop, right? So you can introduce new characters via the vessel of the game. You introduce new spectacle through the vessel of the game, while you keep telling the story around it of Gyeong, and if the cop survives, them trying to, tear down this whole facility, but you get to keep giving us the games while you're doing that if you want to. And so you have that option. You could introduce a group and you only kill a few of them at first, and so it takes longer for the panic to set in. Or you could do a game where you kill almost all of them at once, and then the rest of the season you have a more intimate crew of characters that are maybe they're maybe set up cooperatively where they have to help each other out to win the games, and then it's not to like the fifth one that they have to start sacrificing each other.
Well,
and
he
so
also doesn't have the crutch of the old man there.
Exactly.
Because the old man was his guardian angel, and now he doesn't have that. It's like Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi in a very twisted way.
Exactly.
It's like Luke doesn't have Obi-Wan now, but he'll probably have like flashbacks of what the old man said to him in the second season.
Just like you have the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan, because it's now he doesn't need the mentor anymore. He doesn't need the old man anymore because it's kind of funny. It's like we're really, this would be a great 3 seasons show because of that, because we're really at the end of the first act of the hero's journey. He doesn't need the guy anymore. So the next step is him. He doesn't need his mentor anymore. He doesn't need the lessons anymore. He's learned everything he needs to learn. The next step is him applying those lessons and making mistakes and learning more for him to finally become the master. And then you have another, then you have your epic conclusion where he's finally mastered all these lessons and gets to win. Gets to burn it all to the ground or whatever he gets to do.
I totally thought that the stepdad was involved in some way.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna come in a somehow more important way. Oh, Fernabelle, did your finger slip? You said whoops and sent a very, very generous super chat. So thank you very, very much. Really, really, really appreciate that. And everybody here who's been wonderful and sweet and supportive today, because it was not all fun moments today, and you guys were great. And the ones of you who are great, who continue to be great, have been great consistently. But yeah, I think one of the great things that the TV show called The Good Place did. Everyone's probably heard of that.
I haven't. I have no idea what it is.
It was a sitcom with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell, and it aired like the season or 2 after Parks and Rec went off air. So a lot of people glommed onto it as like their new big sitcom, and it was popular. It was very popular. People were really into it. It was huge when it went into its 3rd season, and then ended because the writer said, we wrote a 3-season story. The story has a conclusion. It has this beginning and ending. We wrote the whole story, and it took 3 seasons to tell it, or whatever, maybe 4, whatever it was. It took this many seasons to tell that story, and then maybe it's 5, however many seasons the show ended up being. Point is, the writers, the studio wanted to renew them. The ratings were high. All this stuff was there, and they said, nope, we're done. We're done writing it. It's over. And so, like, Squid Game is already starting clearly with writing with the idea of a season 2. So I don't know if it got pre-approved for multiple seasons, or if they were just hopeful that they had something good enough to get it. But I like when a show does that, when it writes the story beyond the first season, because then I feel comfortable now. I feel excited for the second season now. I feel excited for what's to come, because I don't feel like I do after so many, like, say, Peaky Blinders, which I loved, and then I'm like, what's going to happen next? And then it's like, after season 2, they switched the fucking premise on me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So
don't you dare fucking spoil it for me.
I won't spoil anything for you, but
the part I'm at is she got shot.
So that stuff. So are you in? So you're in the 3rd season then too, or the?
I don't know. Am I in the 3rd season? She
Yeah, because that's the 3rd season. Because the first
he's with
season,
the boy, and they just left.
Yep.
And they're in like the gypsy wagon with the little boy.
Yeah. So yeah. So we haven't even finished that season yet, because I think we have like the season finale to go, because it's just like the whole time jump. It's like, it feels like a different show now. And as it goes, I kept waiting for it to, like, after that episode where she got shot, I was on board, ready to go. Like, that was the moment where I was like, all right, this show's picking up again. Yes. And then I just couldn't get back. We haven't really gotten back into it more, because it's just like, it's not the same. Like, it lost its direction. Squid Game, by comparison, is a show that feels like it knows where it's going beyond just, it was more than just the gimmick. It was more than just the game. It has a story to tell beyond just the first season. So I'm really, really excited. Really excited to follow that journey, because I actually have confidence that it knows where it's going.
Yeah.
Russell Hall, thank you. I'll spoil Peaky Blinders. It gets redundant. Well, clearly that's what I'm already feeling I don't think redundant is what I would say I'm feeling right now in season 3. I actually could have used more redundant. Like if it was redundant in the ways that it had been in seasons 1 and 2, I'd be on board. But if it continues to be redundant with the new pace it sets from season 3, then I'm not so interested anymore. So, yeah,
I like it.
Like I said, when I was where you were, I was still super in. But it's not that we don't like it. I still like it. I'm still on board with the show. Like we ate up seasons 1 and 2 like that. We couldn't wait to get to more of it. And now it's just like, we'll get to it when we get to it, you know?
Yeah, I was surprised that he threw away the one chick so fast.
Right? I was hoping he was going to pick her. I was hoping he was going to go like that was going to be the thing. I was like, I'm here for the season where he goes into this like respectful business marriage with this woman who like he likes to fuck, but doesn't love the same way he loved Grace, but then learns to have this really great relationship with and realizes that this is the kind of woman he should be with. And so when Grace comes to try to fuck everything up, he tells her to get the fuck lost. Because I liked Grace a lot in the first season. I stopped liking her when she showed up again in season 2 and Miss Married this and that. I liked her all the way up to the end of the first season. And then I didn't.
Hated that she kept trying to make him like a respectable businessman. And then like when they're having the party, she's like, oh, apparently my husband already knows all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, like you knew what you were getting into. I thought she was going to become like the evil, like, or I guess not evil, but I thought she was going to become more like him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree.
And like totally just be down and like running everything.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's what I thought was going to happen. That they would basically, she was going to realize how much they had in common. She was going to sow her wild oats and realize that's who she really was. And they were going to have this great like partnership, you know? And I just feel like Grace is a lesser, like having Grace in season 1 was fine, but seeing the alternative, seeing this woman who feels like so much of a better fit for Tommy is like, you know,
that
then why the fuck?
Away.
Exactly. Why would you show? I was just getting so interested in her and like wanted to see where she was going to go. And then fucking. All right.
I know. I thought she was going to go bad too.
Yeah.
I like how he was just like, oh, she's like, the maids are going to find out. He's like, so what if they do?
Exactly. That was fun. Yeah. And then, but then it's also then, oh, actually you probably haven't gotten to that episode yet. So there's a moment.
I hate his fucking brother's new wife. I'm like, psycho bitch.
I really don't like her either. Fucking Jesus freak.
Yeah, she's annoying.
She is very annoying. She continues to be annoying.
Of course.
But yeah, there is a moment though in season 3 though, which is like, it kind of feels like it spits in the face of who Tommy was in that season 2. And I'm like, now he's the stuffy one. Like,
really?
Yeah. That's my problem is he is too stuffy in the season. Like I fucking loved the Thomas Shelby we were introduced to, and he needed way more than 2 seasons for like, why did you time jump the most interesting part of his career? Okay, he's fucking king of the world. I want to see these years of Mr. Brutality fucking steamrolling everyone in his path. Why did you not give me those? Why? It's like, oh, Amazon Prime, you're going to make a Lord of the Rings TV show. You can tell any story anywhere in the Lord of the Rings universe. And what are you going to tell? How fucking the Shire got started. How the most
with all of the like porn and rape and
but like literally though, it's like, honestly though, like, but not even that. It's like literally like the Harfoots and their happy little clan of diversity. It's like, what, are you just going to show a bunch of little fat people and how they became hobbits? Like how they became farmers? Like, what's this show going to be about? You know, like it's not, because it's not like they're not picking an interesting topic, if that makes sense. Like J.R.R. Tolkien describes Hobbit. I love hobbits. They're wonderful. J.R.R. Tolkien describes them as creatures who don't do anything remarkable. And so this is the journey of these creatures, like becoming these creatures. Like, so we're only going to watch them get more boring as the show goes on.
No, they're going to have the hobbits, but then it's going to have all of the elves that are pillaging and raping and having like Game of Thrones sex orgies.
Which is like, but they're probably not. They'll probably give the hobbits the sex orgies and all that shit. And this is also, I don't know if you saw them, they're completely misinterpreting everything that Tolkien wrote. They're saying, well, the Harfoots are hobbits that do have diversity, and you didn't see any of those in the movies, but really the Harfoots have brown hobbits and black hobbits and mounty hobbits and yellow hobbits and all different kinds of hobbits. And it's like, no, Tolkien pretty much said the Harfoots were the everybody. That's like the working class. That's like the regular hobbits. The Fallowhides are the lighter skinned ones, like the Brandybucks and stuff. And they're actually the societal outcasts because they tend to have a little more that adventurous spirit, and so that makes them not as accepted by the regular Harfoot society. So you're doing it fucking wrong. You are missing the point because you can't disassociate from your retarded ideas of white is bad. White is bad. If they have the whiter skin, they must be evil. They must be the bad ones. White is bad. No, they actually were always the outcasts. So when you cast them in your new show as the evil racist, patriarchs of the town, then you're just going to be fucking wrong. And once again, being disrespectful to the man who created this entire universe. And it is unacceptable. It is 1000% unacceptable to treat Tolkien's legacy in this way.
Yeah, but they're gonna do it.
I said it last night. I'm just not gonna watch. I'm not gonna.
I want to see what it is. I do want to see it for myself. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it.
It's just one of those things where like Peter Jackson couldn't repeat the magic with The Hobbit once Warner Brothers got too involved. Once there was too much money and too much of the studio and presence involved, I have no hope for Amazon Prime to get this one right. I have none. Even in spite of how much they've gotten right. I love Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I love The Boys, all that stuff. It was a diamond in the rough. It was a magical, miraculous event that we got the Lord of the Rings films that we got. I mean, they were never attempted to that scale ever. They were always people. It was in the fantasy of people's imaginations since the books were written to undertake, live action Lord of the Rings movies. And it was just this perfect magical moment in history that came together in movie making to allow those movies to happen at that scale, at that level of grandiousness. And some of it was even just the moment in time where you had somebody dedicated enough to the practical effects and enough interest, or honestly, actually, the complete opposite. The complete amount that we were enamored with special effects is what made the practical effects of The Lord of the Rings so special. And the sparing use of the CGI, where we used CGI, where everyone else making a movie in 2001 wanted to use as much CGI as humanly fucking possible to show off what they could do. Lord of the Rings said we want to use as little as humanly possible, so you can't tell the difference between this and reality. And
yeah, except for like with the ints and like certain things.
Oh, sure. There's things. There's things
that they couldn't get around, like some of the orcs and the.
That's why I like, in some ways.
What is it called? Oh my god, the demon thing that kills Gandalf.
Oh, about the Balrog.
Yeah. God damn it.
The Balrog, I still think looks pretty cool though.
It does look good because it's in the dark and it's like rock and fire.
And yeah, like fire is something that's been easy to create.
But even like Smeagol, he was like the CG, and they do a really good job in the first movie. Like they only really show his hands and his eyes,
exactly,
and from like a distance,
exactly. And then he becomes, of course, their technical achievement in the later ones. But exactly, it's magical. It's a total magical moment in movie making. That obviously I know like. I've digested hours and hours and hours of information about how these movies got made, what the process was, what the filming production. It's fascinating, and it does. And again, you can't even bring it back a few years later, a couple decades, not even 2 decades later, to do the prequel book. So that's Lord of the Rings. There are other properties, there are other things. Lord of the Rings is special, and to say it, if you don't have to like it, you don't have to think it's great, you don't have to love it the way I do or anybody else does, but it's just a fact that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the greatest fantasy trilogies ever written, and like that's by like literary analysis. I mean, it's and properties like that don't exist. Like it's like Star Wars, and Star Wars is the same. The magic that came together to create 3 movies that are all pretty fucking solid. George Lucas himself couldn't repeat with the prequels. And then it only gets worse the further it goes from the source, So these magical things, when their own parents, when the people who were responsible for creating the magic the first time around can't figure out how to recapture it the second time around, I it makes me very hesitant to trust anybody else with that.
I think what it is it's like once you've made the magic, you kind of lose sight, and I think that's what happened with the both set of prequels, The Hobbit and the prequels in Star Wars, is like you can see what they wanted to do, but they didn't quite get there, and there is that magic that's missing.
Yeah.
And with The Hobbit, it's like, yeah, you really want to break down one book into a trilogy. The last movie was fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Like the 5 battles, I'm like, that did not need to happen. Like that battle and killing Smaug in the beginning of the movie, yeah, that happened. That should have been the big end scene. It shouldn't have been a battle between all of them. It literally should have just been that. And they could have focused more on, yes, Galadriel and Gandalf. And they could have like leading up and all of us know who the traitor is. We all know it's Saruman, right?
Exactly.
And they could have played that up more and just I personally like movies where it's all heavy dialogue. I don't need a lot of action. I think having those intense like dialogue moments and then having like a big fight scene at the end, I think those are the good payoffs. But like 12 Angry Men, it's literally just a bunch of men stuck in a room talking. If they just had that where they're just all, Gandalf, Elrond, Galadriel, Saruman, they're all just sitting there discussing this and like maybe pulling up magic to like look at certain things, and then, they're having this meeting and then they go off into like Gandalf talks to Elrond, or Elrond is talking with Saruman, and you could utilize actors like Christopher Lee when we still had him, and even bring Legolas. And instead of having them do the forest thing, Legolas's father, instead of getting an army ready, going and meeting up with Elrond and all of them talking, and we get the 3 elf lords together.
Exactly. Even in the book, the Battle of the 5 Armies is kind of the afterthought to the conclusion. Like it's the epilogue. It's not the climax. It's the epilogue. Killing Smaug, you're right, is the climax. And exactly like you've seen the animated one, right? The animated Hobbit.
I fucking hate that movie. It makes me so uncomfortable.
Movie. I love it. But if you
know what it is, Jesse? It's the animation that makes me. I got traumatized in the beginning when it shows how Smeagol became Smeagol, and it's like just the silhouettes of them murdering each other. I was like,
"Oh, you're thinking of the Lord of the Rings ones? That's different."
I am. I'm not thinking about the Hobbit one. I know I've seen the Hobbit one. I don't remember it.
It's also really creepy and unsettling with the animation, but it's way better. It is way better. Fertivel, there you are. Yes, I actually deleted my earlier comment just saying thanks now, have a great evening. Oh, well, that sucks. I'm sorry. Oh, and Resol, thank you. I'm down for an Angry Hobbit Great Mob. If it has rape, of course you're down for it. Going backwards in time. There's there's also an Italian mobster arc. Enjoy. Shocking. Wait, did I miss something? No, there we go. Shocking. Anywho, well, I'm sorry I accidentally deleted your comment earlier, Fernabelle, but thank you for being here and for super chatting and for being wonderful. You've been an awesome chat member tonight. The original, because I had all the songs that I loved in the original animated Hobbit. Anyway, so that's like an hour and 40-minute movie or something. And it has every detail from the book except for Gandalf, what he's doing when he's not with them, and Beorn the bear. Outside of that, it has everything. It has everything else. In an hour and 40 minutes. In 2 hours, in 2 hours and 10, you could have told every single fucking detail from that book, start to finish, lifted right off the page, and it would have been brilliant. That's the other thing the old animated one does great, though. The songs from the first book, or from The Hobbit, rather, in the animated one.
Well, it's like, I liked a lot of the characters in The Hobbit.
I did too. Actually, I loved what's his butt as Thorin Oakenshield. I thought he was a great Thorin Oakenshield.
Great. He was great.
Oh, fucking great. I was so into Killian Philly. I thought all the dwarves were really well cast. I even liked the chick that they had playing Toriel, even though I thought that was a completely extraneous character.
She's like, pretty. Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah, Evangeline Lilly. She is gorgeous.
I hate that name so much.
I do hate the name. It sounds like it sounds like she's like an evil old woman. you know?
No, it sounds like their mom tried to be trendy. If Angeline Lily, it's like
Eve, Angelina, and Lily. That's too many women's names in your name.
it's just it sounds like you're trying to be all ethereal, but you're just really being pretentious.
Yeah.
Like that is the
Most
like the
pretentious.
synonym I get when I hear that word. I think Evangeline, oh, pretentious.
Pretentious. Evangeline might be the most pretentious women's name. You know what other women's name I find very pretentious?
Beyonce.
Victoria. Beyonce. Victoria. Victoria is just a fucking pretentious name. Victoria. Like, if your name is Victoria and you don't go by like Vicky or Tori or something, like, I don't know. Why do you think you're better than me? You know, that's what I want to know.
I think I've just known too many Victorias, but it's like when you meet a girl that's named Victoria, it's like, all right, I know.
Right.
They're all kind of. It's actually, the name thing. It's kind of similar.
You are your name. That's one of the reasons why I remain a Jessie, because everyone else who grows up they just become a Jessica or a Jess as an adult. Like, Jessie's not a name for adults. Jess. I don't like Jesses. I really don't. Like, I mean, I've met a lot of Jesses I've liked. I don't like that name. I'm not a Jess.
I think for a girl it's different, but like I've met plenty of guys that are named Jess.
Guy Jesses are different. Guy Jessies and Jesses are different. But like girl Jess, I don't like, for me anyway. For someone else, it's fine, but it just doesn't suit me. It doesn't fit me right. I'm actually more. People always be like those like Jessica to try to upset me or something. I'm like, I don't care. Jessica's my name. It's literally the name that's on my birth certificate. I'm not bothered by you calling me my full name. I just prefer to go by Jessie because I like it. But I don't know. There's something about Jess that just doesn't. I'm not a Jess. Like, you're not an Anne. You know.
I know, but I would never be in. My name's Anna.
Some Annas decide they're Anns later. You know.
I hate that. I'm like, just make it Anna. Like, just why are you being lazy?
Right, exactly. I'm just not a Jess. A lot of Jessies become Jesses. I'm just not a Jess. Jessie rebels against becoming an adult. Exactly. Precisely.
No, I mean, there's plenty of girls that are named Jessie.
But that is part of the reason for me, is that there are a lot, is that, I feel like preserving my Jessiness preserves a little bit of my whimsy.
Yeah.
So we're both down with Squid Game. We're both stoked for season 2. And that's we're both here. How about Jasenia?
So remember that thing that I was doing last week, which was why I was in LA?
Yeah.
I just got all of that stuff back.
Woo!
So do you want to buy it to the stream so I can show you everything?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I was about to do that anyway. That's literally
a super secret project that everyone's going to find out about soon.
I don't know if you guys heard what I was gearing. If none of you heard, but that's exactly where I was gearing up to.
Yeah,
it's time to go. Bye. So, anything else you want to let people know before we skedoodle?
Check out my art channel. Check out my main channel. YouTube is like killing my algorithm, and so I'm just like, fuck. You take one fucking day off, and they're just like, fuck you. You know,
it's been really brutal. They've been, I don't know what it is. Like they just want to get rid of all their creators, and then they've been throttling everybody. It's like to really blatant levels, but it's funny because we're all just like very casual. It's like no one's freaking out anymore. No one's making videos and making content about it anymore. We're all just going like, yes, YouTube is dicking us all around again. We're just used to this now. This is
well, it's funny because a lot of people say that January is the like worst month on YouTube. I'm like, actually the beginning of the year isn't that bad. It's like right now is the worst time. I found every year I've been doing YouTube now is like the worst time.
True. I forgot that this is also usually my absolute abjectly slowest period too. Yep. Well, there you go. But it's like, it's just extra though. It's like those things like that where I'm like, you are stripping down my views to the point where my engagement ratios are getting ridiculous. Like, how many screenshots do I need? And the one really fun one for me too is you can see exactly where it happens. I don't think they're actually deleting views from my channel. I think what they're doing is is manipulating my videos. So literally only the people who are already looking for them are finding them. Cause I think there's something just pinged on my channel. So whenever a video starts picking up a certain amount of momentum, it's like, okay, if you get X views in a minute, it just immediately gets dinged. And then so for a couple minutes, there's a little flat line right in my arc tiny little flat line. This one, it happened in the first hour of the last video that I put out. Because when I first, like literally the first little hint of momentum, whisper of momentum, the video started to gain, little flat line, and then it never recovers. And then you get this little jumbly bullshit after that from there. It's like, statistically speaking, mathematically speaking, you can look at all these graphs and clearly see this is not everything else. Before the artificial hand, dabbling around, there was, even with the level of fucking around they were still doing with my channel, there was a smooth curve. There should be a smooth curve for these things. All of the evidence and statistic proves this. It's just, it's like, I can prove it, but then what's the point? Because who cares? Like, what am I going to do about it? I can prove that
YouTube doesn't care. That's the thing. It's like, it's just killing its platform.
Exactly. They don't give a shit. Technical challenge. The Battle of the Shire was a stupid end to Lord of the Rings, but Battle of the Five Armies was a fitting end to The Hobbit. But those movies sucked. Yes. Agree on both counts. I think the sacking of the Shire was a great choice to not include in the films. But I also definitely agree that I think in the books it feels like the sacking of the Shire was just Tolkien's way of building a bridge between between the ending and the ending. It's like kind of the movie, even though it took it out, still had the same problem. Like everyone jokes about, all the endings of Return of the King. It's like, yeah, Tolkien kind of had the same problem writing it too. He couldn't really figure out how to end it, so he had to sack the Shire and do all this shit before he could write his characters off into the sunset. Phil Booty, 22 more minutes, lady. Let's make it a 3-hour show. As much as I love you all, thank you guys.
I got stuff to do, people.
Thank you guys for watching. It's been a blast. I think I posted in the chat. If not, I'll post it again. Guys, drop your email on my Indiegogo mailing list. I'm going to be starting an Indiegogo for my fencing club that I'm starting. I applied for commercial lease and all this shit. I'm a business owner. It's exciting. I'm going to need some help getting this puppy off the ground. So, but that's it. That's all for today. And until next time. Also go to 17 Live. That's the other thing that I need to remember to tell you about. On Fridays now, Fridays starting at 3 p.m. They're probably 4-ish this week. We are going to be, my friend Walsey's coming up to jam with me on these streams. So they're exciting people. Anyway, that's all. God Empress out.
Bye.